Chapter 3969. Third More. Magic Flame. Jian Wushuang whispered quietly. In the surrounding void, the already prepared flame of magic, a flash of madness flashed in his eyes, followed by the endless golden light rising. Ha! 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 9 golden phantoms flickered at the same time, and these 9 golden phantoms condensed into the void into 9 huge golden condors in the blink of an eye. The golden condors transformed by the demon flame have long been seen by everyone before the scene. The single golden condor is the 4th level to dominate the combat power, and the magic flame is transformed into 2 golden condors. Killing Jin Yinshan also hurt the Lord of the Clouds before, but now it is full of 9 golden condors, and most importantly, the 9 golden condors are even stronger than before. When I heard Jian Wushuang drinking, the 9 golden condors turned directly into 9 golden lights, like a golden flame burning, and instantly penetrated through the void. With an immortal momentum, crazy towards the demon, the Lord of the Stars crashed away. I was too fast. The speed of these 9 golden lights was really scary. And the Lord of the Demon Clouds is still within the range of the gods and magic squares, and still bears the repressive force, and the long surrounding golden light sword wave impact. Although there is no blessing from the primitive universe, these two the power has weakened a lot, but the sword unparalleled is still fully exerting the dragon extinction technique, burning the divine power. At this moment, Jian Wushuang also desperately. I saw that in the majestic sword-like ocean, there were dozens of sword-like waves rising wildly at the same time, forming a heavy and tsunami-like golden tsunami, and it turned under the cover of the demon star. The demon star master quickly rushed to resist, directly smashing the dozens of sword-like waves directly, but the 9 golden lights that struck and killed instantly, but the demon star master failed to block. Pung pung, 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 pung. The 9 golden lights transformed by the golden condor hit the body of the Lord of the Clouds almost at the same time, and the power of time terror broke out at the same time. Even though he is the master of the magic cloud, his face has changed greatly at this moment. He can feel the horrible impact of these 9 golden lights. Any one of these 9 golden lights is better than the strongest hit of the 4th level High Master, and the 9 hits at the same time. The power is no less than that of the 4th level peak. This level of attack cannot afford the Lord of the Clouds. Humming. After 9 golden rays, the power was exhausted and finally dissipated. As for the magic flame, at the moment when the 9 golden powers were exhausted, his body immediately collapsed, but his soul body left the battlefield at the fastest speed, fled to the side of Jian Wushuang, and was retaken by Jian Wushuang. Got that gourd inside. In front of the void, a huge cosmic black hole appeared there, a large swath of space crazily crisscrossing. And at the very center of the cosmic black hole, the Lord of the Clouds still stands there. But at this moment, the Lord of the Demon Clouds has an extremely pale complexion, and the original breath of his body has weakened a lot. His body trembled, as if there was a blazing flame burning in his eyes. Oh! The demon Nebula opened his mouth, and a large mouthful of scarlet blood spewed out. In vain. Ha ha ha. The Lord of the Clouds laughed wildly, but the laughter was extremely insane. The breath of death, in this small star field, even made this seat feel the breath of death. For a long time, this seat has not felt this kind of death. Sword unparalleled, this seat swears that you will be ashamed of your bones, as well as the slave you just had, and all the practitioners in the early world of God. This seat will make you unable to survive, not to die. The insane laughter of the Demon Cloud Master resounded throughout the battlefield, and remained for a long time. I was staying around the battlefield, and many powerful men from the Taiji Divine Camp heard this, and they couldn't help panic. Kung Wushuang, who is standing in front of the Lord of the Clouds, suddenly burst out. Master of the Clouds, you have no chance. The trembling sound of the sky made the universe trembled. He followed the sword Wushuang's figure and stepped on his palm, but he had already taken out a thing. It is a bamboo leaf that looks very ordinary. The many practitioners who can be present here have amazing eyesight. Naturally, one can see the shocking power hidden in the bamboo leaves. What? The Lord of the Clouds stared in surprise, looking at the bamboo leaf in Jian Wu's hands. I saw Jian Wushuang's right hand suddenly and forcefully, under his guidance, among the bamboo leaves. A terrible power that everyone felt suffocated suddenly rose up. This breath is far superior to the third-level master, even the fourth-level master. It is vast like the might of the universe. Not good. The main face of the demon Nebula changed greatly, and his eyes were as wide as a copper bell. He felt the rising power of the bamboo leaves. This power, just rising, has made him feel very palpitated. As this mighty power became more and more arrogant, the Demon Star Master was even more frightened. Fifth series. This is the power of the fifth series. The Demon Star Master shuddered, and his face finally showed a hint of panic. Although he was the fourth-level master, and because he lost the relationship between the early world of the gods, he realized a little of the law of the universe, and even joined the Diwu Temple, and obtained a treasure that is suitable for him to perform. In addition, he also practiced the mystery in the Diwu Temple. He is also very good at asking his own life. Among the fourth-ranked masters, even if he encounters the fourth-ranked peak master, he is not an enemy, not too afraid. Like the moment, Jian Wushuang's double-killing tricks successively performed by Demon Flames brought him a great threat. Demon Flames' tricks even severely damaged him, but he couldn't really scare him. But now, the power rising from the bamboo leaves really scared him. Triple kill. The first killing trick is that I fully exert Mystery of Dragon Extermination, ignite the primitive universe, and use the Wave and Light Sword Array to cooperate with the Demon Town of Heaven Magic Array Crazy Impact Strangulation. The purpose is just to consume his divine power. The second killing trick is that the magic flame releads the body to collapse, and the strongest blow it has done is to hurt it. The next killing trick is really the deadly killing trick. This bamboo leaf was handed to me by the predecessor of the Wind Demon. It was refined by the master of the fifth rank personally. It contained some of the power of the master of the fifth rank. It was guided by me enough to instantly kill the master of the fourth rank. Lord of the Demon Cloud, I don't believe that you can survive this heavy killing trick on the premise that your divine power has been consumed more than half, and it has already been seriously damaged. Jian's eyes are cold, and the murder is unlimited. Chapter 3970. The first is more. No. The Demon Star Master was horrified. The power rising from the bamboo leaves shook him physically and mentally, and that mighty energy gathered in a frenzy, and it turned out to be a knife. A huge, domineering knife that can cut the sky. Obviously, the fifth-level master of the bamboo leaf refining at the time was a strong man who was good at knife path, and his sword skills should be extremely domineering. The knife now appearing in front of the Lord of the Demon Clouds, even though it has only part of the power of the fifth-level master, can still have the power of slaying magic. Lord of the Clouds, you die. The sword has no intention of killing the sky, and above the void of the universe, the arrogant knife is directly and fiercely chopped down towards the Demon Star Master. Stronger than the Lord of the Clouds, under this sword, there is no courage to resist at all. Too strong this knife. If I am in the peak period, I may still be able to survive fortunately, but I am in this state. If I bear this knife, I will die. Demon Star Master stared with eyes wide. At this moment, he did sense an unprecedented crisis of life and death. This life and death crisis is so intense that it has appeared for the first time since he took over the early divine realm and became the Lord of the Clouds. There is no doubt that this knife is enough to kill him. No. My magic cloud has just broken through to reach the fourth level, and has just received the approval of the Diwu Temple. I have not yet crossed the universe, and I have not even had time to go to the depths of the universe to see how it is possible to die like this. I can't die. The Lord of the Clouds growled wildly, his voice hysterical. His face had also been completely twisted. His eyes were even more red. And just as the tyrannous sword was about to be cut off, a violent power on the Lord of the Nebula suddenly emerged. Buzzing. Lord Moyen has become crazy at this moment. Burning soul. It's the soul burning. The Lord of the Devil Clouds has actually performed a soul burning? Many powerful men standing in the surrounding void watching the scene were surprised. Even the sword Wuxia, who guided that dagger, was stunned. Soul burning. In general, it is the end to death, and without any chance of surviving, the burning soul will desperately want to make the other party pay as much as possible. Once the practitioner has burned the soul, under normal circumstances, he cannot stop until the soul is completely burned and clean. In other words, this method is a means of death. Like Jian Wuxia, in the eternal dark prison, he relied on a vein of red clouds to suppress a powerful man. After being suppressed by him, because he was unwilling to submit to him, he directly chose to burn his soul to commit suicide. However, what Jian Wuxia did not expect is that this demon star master chose to burn his soul at this moment. Could it be that he felt that under this sword, he would be dead before he made such a choice? But Naha's sword hasn't really been cut off, and the power has not been fully revealed. It's too early to burn the soul now. Although Jian Wuxia was puzzled, he could guide the speed and power of Naha's sword, but he did not weaken at all. Wow! Dao Guang fought mercilessly, and the entire void of the universe was directly split in half, and a huge space fissure hangs like a galaxy. The Lord of the Clouds has been completely submerged by the blade of light, and the terrifying power has completely covered the Lord of the Clouds. Ha! I only heard the sound of divine squeezing and crashing, and the power of the half-sword was completely exhausted and dissipated. This universe of emptiness gradually restored its calmness. Jian Wuxia has also stopped the burning of divine power in his body and appeared on the edge of the battlefield. Although he only had a dozen breaths from his shot to the present, it was extremely short. However, during this time, he had shown all his whole cards like Dragon Mystery, as well as the former Magic Square Town Magic Law team. In conjunction with their own Wave Lightsaber Array, crazy consumption of Magic Cloud Star Master's divine power. Although the magic power of the Lord of the Clouds was consumed by nearly 40%, his own power was also consumed a lot. Until now, Jian Wuxia's breath has also weakened a lot. The remaining divine power is less than 50%, but he doesn't care about his state at all, but raises his head, staring at the void in front of him. Master Moyan, are you dead? Jian Wuxia murmured softly. Not only him, but also many of the masters from the Taiji Divine Realm who watched the surrounding battles, as well as the master of the Demon Star, all stared at the void. They are also waiting for a result. The energy remaining in that void is completely dissipated, and the broken cosmic void is restored again. When everything calmed down, a figure slowly appeared in the sight of everyone. The appearance of this figure made all the strong men in the Taiji Divine side shrink their eyes and pupils. Not dead. All the souls are being burned, but the Lord of the Clouds is not dead yet. How is that possible? How could he not be dead yet? Impossible. In the early days, many of the masters of the world screamed. Just like the mysterious God, the master of space and time, the Lord of the sky and the ancestor of the heaven, the ancestors were just very excited. When they saw the magic cloud star burning the soul, they almost thought that the magic cloud star was dead, but now this figure appears, but they almost collapsed. Isn't this dead? Even Jian Shuangshuang was unbelievable at this moment. All the souls have been burned, and the Lord of the Clouds is not like a perfect level of life. The soul can be restored by divine power. Once he has burned the soul, he must die according to reason. But it turned out. Survived, haha. I really survived. With the insane laughter, it spread freely from the Lord of the Clouds master. I have to thank Diwu Temple. If it weren't for the unique soul-burning mystery of Diwu Temple, I would definitely have died just after that. But now, I survived, haha, my demon cloud. Surely I shouldn't die, I won't die here. The Lord of the Clouds laughed, just like a living lunatic. When hearing the words of the Lord of the Clouds, Jian Wuxia was silent. Diwu Temple? Unique soul-burning mystery? Jian Wuxia understood instantly. The reason why the Demon Star Master did not die just now is that he has a unique soul-burning mystery, which can be used to burn the soul when it is cast, so that it can burst into a terrible power in a short time, but can also stop the soul burning midway, and make sure that the Demon Star Master soul will not be completely annihilated. Chapter 3971. Second More. The triple killing moves were extremely well prepared, but the results still failed to really kill the Demon Star Master, which made Jian Wushuang very unwilling. Fortunately, although the Lord of the Clouds is not dead, he can be hit by successive triple kills, but he has also suffered unprecedented damage. In addition, he previously burned the soul frantically to resist the tyrannical sword, causing most of the soul to be destroyed. Now he, even if he is alive, is miserable. I saw that in the cosmic void. Although the main body of this demon star is still standing, its body is shaking slightly, and the breath emanating from his body has already lost its grandness and strength as before. But it gives people this feeling of incomparable weakness. This weakness is really not pretended, but it is indeed weak to the extreme. At this moment, the Lord of the Demons and Clouds is afraid that even a single Chengdu combat power cannot be exerted, and there is little divine power left on his body. In this state, let alone the sword unparalleled, I am afraid to come to a third-level master to casually crush him easily. The Lord of the Clouds, you must die. He was very clear that as long as the Lord of the Clouds was still alive, even if this war was his early victory in the God realm, and the army of the Lord of the Clouds was defeated by the front, as long as the Lord of the Clouds was given some time, the Lord of the Clouds, you will be able to restore your strength to its peak, and you will be able to kill your army again. And if there is another war, the sword has no hands to resist the capital of the Demon Star Master. You know, this time he drove the Demon Star Master to a terrible 3 major killing moves. Only the first one was performed by himself, in order to consume the Demon King Master's divine power as much as possible. But the second heavy killing trick, the strongest blow from the magic flame, can't be displayed again, because the flame-swallowing body of the magic flame has collapsed again. Want to re-repair? Repair 20 to 30%, how difficult. As for the final third killing trick, the one who really pushed the flame into desperation was a special treasure given by the Wind Demon. This treasure is only one, and it has already been used, and naturally it can no longer be used. In other words, if the Lord of the Clouds is killed again next time, he may only have swallowed that special blood pill, and he will have to fight against this Lord of the Clouds. It took me a long time to push the Demon Star to such a field today. I can never give him a chance to make a comeback and kill. At all costs, I must kill him. Jian Wushuang is crazy and incomparable, which has always existed throughout the battlefield. The magical town of heaven and magic has always evoked a terrible suppressive force, suppressing the Demon Star Master. At this moment, the sword unparalleled was holding Wu Crying Sword with one hand, and attacked directly. Not good. Seeing Jian Wushuang killing, Demon Star's complexion changed dramatically. In his current state, he can't fight against Jian Wushuang directly. Sihua, come and help me quickly. The Lord of the Clouds yelled. The Shihua King, who has been standing on the edge of the battlefield, has been watching this battle, but he saw Jian Wushuang teaming up with the Demon Flame to perform a triple killing move, and even forced the Demon Flame into desperation, and nearly killed the Demon Flame. At the same time, his heart was also shaken. The means revealed by the sword unparalleled sword were all scared by him. But now he heard the Lord of the Clouds cry for help. But his brows frowned. But he did not hesitate. No matter how good Sword Wushuang is, it's just the ruler. Although the several successive killing moves have been overwhelming, it is estimated that it is already his strongest whole card. It should not be stronger in his hands. He did not rely on his whole cards, and his combat power was at least equal to me. I don't need to be afraid of him. Seeing that the Lord of the Clouds was in trouble, he shot directly. But I have been instructed by Jian Wushuang for a long time, and I have been standing in the surrounding void watching the Demon Dragon Lord and other people who acted every time. At the moment when he saw the departure of the Emperor, hey! Ha! 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 Immediately those slaves of the sword unparalleled moved. 36 slaves, including the Lord of the Dragons and Lord of the Scorpions, were dispatched this time, and they immediately formed a towering battle array. This battle array was extremely powerful. Under the joint operation of 36 third-ranking masters, the power of terror broke out. The first time, he rushed to the front of Shihua Lord and stopped him, Damn! The Shihua Lord sweared, and he wanted to fight the battle array in front of him, but he didn't have to fight. As soon as he met the Shihua Lord, he immediately discovered that the battle force in front of him could reach the 4th level, dominate the hierarchy, and simply talking about the power of power is obviously better than him. Although he shot with all his strength, he could only fight for this battle array for a while. But he couldn't get out of this battle array and help the Lord of the Clouds on the other side. And the Dragon Lords have long been given the command of the sword unparalleled, never thought of defeating or killing the Shihua King, just relying on this battle line to entangle with the Shihua King. Duanti give Shihua King made up his hand. Shihua Shinjun was completely stopped and could not find any chance to shoot. The Lord of the Clouds, who was madly fleeing, saw this scene and could not help but change his face. How to do? The Lord of the Demon Clouds growled madly in the heart, thinking about getting away. But he is now in the repression range of the gods and magic squares. Even if they are at their peak, they may not be able to defeat them, let alone now. He can hardly find the possibility of escaping in the magic circles. And the only initiating prince who could save his life was also blocked from the law formation, and could not enter at all. It seems that he has fallen into a real desperation. He pondered desperately, but couldn't find any solution for a while. Suddenly, the Lord of the Clouds saw the outside of the battlefield, and the remaining more than 10 masters came from the Lord of the Clouds. You guys don't hurry up to rescue this seat. The Lord of the Clouds gave a loud drink. Outside the battlefield, more than a dozen masters from Demon Star, because in the previous war, were scared by the servants of His Majesty Jian, and their moods have not completely calmed down, but later they saw their invincible the Lord of the Clouds was forced to be so miserable that he even fell into a desperate situation. One by one, he was so shocked that he was trapped there. These masters did not return to God until they heard this savory drink from the Lord of the Clouds. But after returning to God, it was you who looked at me and I looked at you. But no one came forward for a while. You can't come, you can't find it. The Demon Star Master burst into a blast again, and there was a terrible killing in the blast. Chapter 3972. Third More. Detecting the killing intention of Demon Star Master. Those masters under Demon Star are shivering. They have been attached to the Lord of the Clouds for many years, and for a long time, they have had an almost instinctive fear of the Lord of the Clouds. Immediately, among the more than 10 masters, the 2 strongest gods will leave immediately. The speed of these 2 gods was extremely fast, and they directly swept across the void, and swept towards the heavenly array of gods and demons. In the early days, the side of the gods also immediately responded. If His Majesty's sword is not a magic flame, there are a total of 41 slaves, all of whom are 3rd-level strong men brought back from eternal dark prison, of which 36 are the formation of a mortal battle array to stop the first emperor, while the Lord of Mars is responsible for the coordination of the 2 sides of the battlefield. But there are still 4 slaves, the first time they were looted. However, because the Demon Lord fled to the Demon Star camp, and will be closer to the 2 gods in distance, the 2 gods will have already stepped into the Demon Town Tianfa array first, and the first time was blocked in front of Jianwu. Court death. Jianwu's eyes were cold and stunned with an astonishing killing intention. In his hand, Wu weapon sword was cut out directly, and the hazy sword formation immediately formed. Just before the start of the war, Jian Wushuang cast a hazy sword array and directly killed a general under the Lord of the Clouds. At that time, he had not used the magic town of Tianfa array. Now there is the blessing of the magic town heavenly formation. Even if he is 1 enemy and 2, to kill the 2 generals, it is very easy. It can be easy, more or less, it takes some time. And the Lord of the Clouds has fled to the very edge of the magic circle of heaven and magic with this extremely short time. And the Shihua Lord is also communicating with the fairy. At the same time as the battlefields were fighting, they kept approaching the Lord of the Clouds. Beginning fast, hurry up. Demon Star was anxious. He knew that as long as he was able to drag the Shihua King to this circle, with the help of Shihua King, he could escape. But Shihua Shinjun was entangled in the battlefield of Xinyu. Although approaching him, the speed was very slow, At this time, the Lord of the Clouds, a strange voice suddenly sounded. In the void in front of the Lord of the Clouds, a figure emerged out of thin air. This figure appeared too suddenly. It can be said that there are no signs. There are many strong players. Jian Wushuang has been using the magic town of Tianfazan to suppress this void. But even he did not find this figure. When did you enter the circle? It's the witch god. It's him. When did this witch break into the circle? In the early days of the divine realm, the Xian Shinto and the Lord of Time and Space immediately recognized the sudden figure. But they were all surprised at this moment. You know, from the beginning of the war, when they found the witch from the Dominion-dominated camp, they always kept an eye on it. But then the war broke out, and the two camps dominated the crazy fight. The Demon Star side dominated and retreated, leaving only a dozen people who fled back. Of these, more than 10 people, obviously no witch existed. This made the Xian Shinto people, several of them, think that the witch died with the Lord of many demon stars. But now it seems that this is obviously not the case. This witch has used special means to hide in this cosmic void in the early morning, and there are so many strong people present, but no one has found his existence. Until now, he appeared in the circle. If they did not take the initiative to reveal their figure, they would still have no idea what this witch want to do. Mysterious Shinto and others are puzzled. Which god? Even the Lord of the Clouds stared at the witch who suddenly appeared at this moment. Not even he knew how the witch appeared in the circle. He didn't know why the witch suddenly appeared in front of him under such circumstances. Does this witch want to save himself from the swordless hands? Is it possible? Hey, Lord of the Demon Cloud, the master of the 4th series, but also master the rule of the treasure, but also understand a bit of the law of the universe. Even the Diwu Temple recognizes your strength and grants you a number of mysteries. It would be so embarrassing to be forced by a ruler. Really shame for the Diwu Temple behind you. The evil spirit of Wu Wu laughed with a hint of irony in his words. Which god, how dare you talk to this seat? It is impossible to find death. The voice of the Lord of the Clouds was cold. Even though the situation is extremely miserable now, after all, the Demon Star Master has always been in a high position for a long time, and has long been domineering. The witch is just a first-level master. In his eyes, such masters are no different from ants. If it was not for the witch before, he would have slapped him directly. Haha, Lord of the Clouds, you really don't know your situation at all, let me tell you. The witch laughed, and the laughter converged. He looked back at the Lord of the Clouds, but it was a word and a word. Master Demon Star, you listen well. From today on, your body, your cultivation, your Majesty Demon Star, including yours in the beginning, the world of God, everything you have will be mine. What are you talking about? Demon Lord stared. But before the Lord of the Clouds had any reaction, the witch who had stood in front of him had become empty, and his body had begun to wither, and only a momentary effort had turned into a dead body, weakly fell down into the void below. In this scene, all the strong people in the scene were astray, but they immediately discovered that the body of the witch withered and fell, but a majestic soul body was left. This soul body was extremely arrogant, as if burning. The flames were ordinary, and rushed to the Lord of the Clouds instantly. At the moment when he saw the soul body rushing towards him, the Lord of the Clouds had already reacted, and understood what the witch was planning to do. I was furious and wanted to stop this soul body, but this soul body was not affected in any way, and was directly submerged into the body of the Lord of the Clouds. Next moment. What? A hysterical roar from the Lord of the Demon Star. If the Lord of the Devil Star's face is crazy, the whole person will squat down in pain. No. Get out, get out. There were screams of snarling sound from the main mouth of Demon Star. The sound was full of pain. However, the sound became weaker and weaker. Excuse me, witch god, let me go. Please. In the end, a terrifying cry for mercy was made in the main mouth of Demon Star. But the voice was getting lower and lower. Eventually, the sound completely disappeared. And at this moment, the Master of the Cloud has also calmed down again. Chapter 3973. The first is more. The whole universe was empty, and at this moment it was quiet. Even in another nearby battlefield, the main force of the rule that has been frantically colliding and fighting has stopped his actions at this moment. The battlefield of fairy tales, composed of 36 slaves under the command of Swordmaster Muzu, was also fighting fiercely with Shihua Xinjun, but now it has stopped. As for Jian Wushuang, in the extremely short period of time, the two great generals who were standing in front of him have been beheaded. Now they are also standing there, and their eyes are staring at the Devil Star Master staring at the void in front of them. Although Jian Wushuang was just fighting the two gods, his attention has always been on the Lord of the Clouds. The emergence of the natural witch god, including the changes that happened to the Lord of the Clouds, can be seen clearly. His intuition told him that a huge change had taken place in the Lord of the Clouds, and it was the witch who caused it all. Suddenly, the Lord of the Demon Cloud, who had calmed down, raised his head directly, and a strange weird smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Master of the Demon Cloud, know this feeling you should be. Which god? Jian Wushuang said coldly, his eyes were extremely solemn. Well, Sword Master, you have a good vision. The Magic Cloud Master, at that moment laughed strangely, but it is clear that the Magic Cloud Master is no longer alone. Although it is still the deity of the Lord of the Clouds, Jian Wushuang understands that it is the witch god that now controls the deity of the Lord of the Clouds. Do you win? Jian Wushuang's eyes narrowed. Looting? Well, I didn't him, I just swallowed his soul. Wu Shinto swallowed his soul? Jian Wushuang stunned. Well, if it's just a looting, the soul of the Lord of the Demon Clouds will be completely wiped out by me, and I will only dominate his body. As for other things, I can't get them, but I will swallow them with his soul. Not only can he dominate his deity, but he can even get his full memory, including all the means he knows, such as the mastery of that cosmic law. And now I also master it. As well as the primal he dominates, the heavenly will of the world has now changed over to me. Wu Wu laughed. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang was startled. After directly swallowing the other person's soul, you can get the other person's memory, including many feelings and means? How can that be? How could there be such an incredible method in this universe? Under normal circumstances, two different souls cannot be integrated, so the so-called soul devour. If a soul wants to devour another soul, it can at most swallow some of the other soul, the extremely pure soul origin, but if a soul is swallowed up intact, it will be extremely damaging to its own soul. Not to mention that we now need to get the other party's complete memory and many means of perception. At least in the view of Jian Wushuang, the witch god is now like this. After swallowing the soul of the Lord of the Clouds, he will get all the memories and feelings of the Lord of the Clouds. This is simply incomprehensible. But the meaning of watching witch myth is obviously not like lying. As if seeing the incomprehension of Jian Wushuang's heart, the witch laughed again. Sword Wushuang, you are born at the extreme edge of the universe, and you are not qualified to actually go through the depths of the universe. You have no idea what the universe is. The vastness of the universe, how many innumerable practitioners have in the universe, how to directly devour the souls of the practitioners, and to obtain the memory of the other party, including many means of perception, is indeed incredible, but for me, it can be done. Of course, there are also many restrictions on my means of devouring the soul. For example, if I am just a master, then there is a supreme level soul in front of me, and I can't devour it. As for this Magic Cloud Star Lord, I couldn't have devoured his soul directly, but didn't it help you? Jian Wushuang, I really want to thank you very much. If you have used many killing methods to force the demon star so miserable, and even caused him to burn most of his soul, then in my current state, I really can't help him. The sword did not sink. He also understood that this witch does have the ability to devour the soul, so as to obtain the other party's memory, and even the means of perception. But this means of soul devouring is not omnipotent. Before the power of the Lord of the Clouds was at its peak. To be precise, when the soul was not damaged, why couldn't this witch god be the Lord of the Clouds? But because of his threefold method, he forced the Lord of the Clouds to burn most of his soul, and fell into the weakest. The state of the gave the witch god a great opportunity, which allowed the witch god to devour the soul of the Lord of the Clouds. It can be said that he really helped this witch god. Now, this witch god not only occupies the Lord's body, but also masters everything, including the heavenly will of the early world Wu god. Where are you from? Sword Muses stared at the witch god. He doesn't know much about this witch god. Not only him, the whole world of the early gods knew little about this witch god. All I know is that this witch is a master, and comes from other star domains. I do know why he came to the early world of God a long time ago. And these years the witch god has created the witch god religion in the early world of the gods. This witch has been secretly capturing some special lives in the early world of the gods, or some higher-level special ethnic practitioners. But the purpose of the witch to capture these high-level practitioners has never been known. Before the sword unparalleled, including the many powerful men in the early world, all the attention was paid to the Lord of the Clouds, but the witch was ignored instead. But now this witch does not act, but the shot is amazing. He even swallowed the soul of the Lord of the Clouds and mastered everything of the Lord of the Clouds. At this step, Jian Wushuang treated the witch seriously, and he was also curious about the origin and identity of the witch god. This witch is such a means, if there is no huge origin, Jian Wushuang will certainly not believe it. On hearing Wu Jianshuang's words, a weird smile appeared on the face of the witch god. Jian Wushuang, do you really not recognize who I am? Huh? Jian Wushuang stunned. Does the word witch god mean that they knew each other before? But he and the of witches have never met each other. Does he have any other identity besides the witch god? Jian Wushuang frowned. Haha. Suddenly the witch burst into laughter, and the laughter was full of torture. Jian Wushuang, I haven't told you before, will we meet again soon? Chapter 3974. Second more. Jian Wushuang, I haven't told you before, will we meet again soon? The words of the witch god were introduced into Jian Wushuang's ears, but they were astonished. You are. Jian Wushuang stared at the witch god in front of his face in disbelief, and a person was already in his mind. Haha, it looks like you changed me, you recognize me, let alone I change my appearance, you should know it. The witch smiled, but his body shape started directly at this moment. Change. He was originally the master of the Devil's Star. But in the blink of an eye, he turned into a man in a white robe with long flowing white hair, and a handsome face. At first glance, this handsome man looks very elegant, like a fairy in the middle. After seeing this handsome man, Jian Wushuang couldn't calm down anymore. He is not only him, but also the servants of His Majesty. At this moment, his eyes are widened, and he looks at this handsome man with an incredible face. There is no way. They are all powerful men from the Eternal Dark Prison. As one of the 10 kings of the Eternal Dark Prison, and recognized by countless strong people, as the first demon of the Eternal Dark Prison. How can they not know? Star Demon Patriarch. He is Star Demon Patriarch. It is impossible. The ancestor of the Star Devil is dead. I saw him burn his soul in front of his master and died. After his death, those who were turned into livestock and animals by him were recovered immediately. Hey, what is going on here? Why is the dead Star Demon ancestor appearing here? No, he can never be the ancestor of the Star Devil. I have seen him. Even the soul breath is different, just look the same. The servants of his sword master Wushuang completely shaken. This is also normal. After all, the Star Demon ancestor was a super existence who was scared and terrified by their long years. Such a super existence now appears in front of them, and swallows the soul of the Lord of the Clouds. How can they accept it? Even for Jian Wushuang, I couldn't believe it for a while. You are the ancestor of the Star Devil. It is impossible. Your soul breath is obviously different from the ancestor of the Star Demon. Jian Wushuang yelled, Soul breath! Which god smiled dumbly. Sword unparalleled. You have been in the Eternal Dark Prison for some time. Don't you know what my ancestors are best at? I am best at all kinds of things means. And such a means to change the breath of the soul. Of course, I also have if I am willing. I can naturally change the breath of the soul. After saying that, the spirit breath emanating from the witch changed, and soon became exactly the same, as when he saw the star demon ancestor in the eternal dark prison. Until this moment, Jian Wushuang really believed that the person in front of him was really the ancestor of the star devil. This witch who has been in the world for a long time and has been searching for high-level cultivators has turned out to be the star demon ancestor in the eternal dark prison. That is to say, this star demon ancestor has actually escaped from the eternal dark prison many years ago. As for the star demon ancestor who remained in the eternal dark prison, what is the sword unparalleled? Guess. Jian Wushuang, you should be very puzzled now. Which god, the ancestor of Star Devil, was watching Jian Wushuang with great interest at the moment. I'm not in a hurry anyway. I will lift the doubt in your heart. I am indeed the ancestor of the Star Devil. You don't have to doubt this. As for the witch god, it is just a temporary name I used after I escaped from the eternal dark prison. The star ancestors of the stars began to talk slowly. It has to be said from the eternal dark prison. Eternal dark prison was the place where Hongyun Yi was originally used to detain prisoners. Chapter 3975. Third more. Try. Jian Wushuang frowned. He can only try with the soul body, but the soul is the root of the cultivator. This ancestor of the star devil is not his perfect life. How can he try with the soul body? I am afraid that if you are a little careless, the soul body of this star demon ancestor will collapse and die directly. If it's an ordinary practitioner, a normal soul body can't try it at all, but I'm different. My soul body is inherently differentiated. I can divide my soul into two. One stays in the body, and the other is directly based on after trying that path. The soul that was differentiated was not long after it was first tried, and it was directly annihilated. As soon as the soul died, my soul of the body immediately felt, and the memory of that soul would also return to the body. Although I lost some of the soul, I accumulated some experience and lost the soul. It only takes me a while to recover, and then differentiate again. In this way, I have tried hundreds of times in the dozens of chaotic eras in the long years, and finally I succeeded. The soul that differentiated me escaped from the eternal dark prison. Zhu smiled. Jian Wushuang has been silent. He did not expect that this ancestor of the star devil had such a special ability that he could differentiate his soul into one and two. And even if one of them was annihilated, his memory could immediately return to the body. Relying on this method, the ancestral ancestor made hundreds of attempts in the eternal dark prison and was successful. Of course, this ancestral ancestor was able to escape, but it was not a fluke, but the efforts of hundreds of chaos eras, and the attempts in soul restoration after the soul differentiation. If you change to someone else, even if you find the gap, you may not escape from the eternal dark prison. Wu sighed lightly. Jian Wushuang continued to listen to the narrative of the star demon ancestor. After my differentiated soul escaped from the eternal dark prison, I came to this star field, and then I directly snatched a ruler and spent some time in this star field, against this star. After the domain has enough understanding, my differentiated soul directly exerts burning and annihilation. Star demon ancestor said. Soul burning. Jian Wushuang stunned. That divided soul has already escaped. Why choose the soul to burn again? The ancestor of Star Devil laughed strangely. No way, because the soul that I differentiated and used to try to escape only accounts for 20% of my own soul, and there is nothing in my hand. With the existence of treasures, I naturally will not replace this soul with my own body, so this differentiated soul will perish, and after the memory returns to the body, I will begin to really prepare. This time, I was fully prepared to restore my soul to its peak state, but there will be exceptions to everything, and I dare not gamble everything on this time. So I still divide the soul and divide it into a soul. Stay on top of the divine body. And my core soul body is abandoning the divine body and taking my many treasures into that path. My prudence is not wrong. Although there are hundreds of previous attempts, I also have a chance to succeed. The danger that can be entered along the last path along that path is too great. My soul body, even though I was careful everywhere, I still encountered a calamity in that passage. As a result, Many of my treasures were lost in the turbulent space, and my own soul body, although fortunate to escape, was also severely damaged. Hearing this, Jianwu's pupils could not help shrinking. No wonder he didn't get any high-value treasure from star demon ancestors after he killed the star demon ancestors in Eternal Dark Prison. It turned out that the star demon ancestor he met in Eternal Hell at that time was just a differentiated soul carrying a body. As for his treasure, he was taken away by his own soul body, and when he escaped from Eternal Hell, these treasures are all lost. Those lost treasures are okay. Although there are a few rules and treasures, there are also some extremely precious things. But as long as I can escape, there will be opportunities to recover the treasures later. But the key is that the soul body has been seriously damaged. The soul body of my deity is not differentiated, and the cost of such soul damage was very difficult for me at the time. And more importantly, this star field is at the extreme edge of the universe, with scarce resources and pitiful practitioners of the same low quality. My soul suffered such heavy damage, and could not be recovered for a while. I first lost one of the rules, Lord, and later took away a master who came from another star domain. This master is the witch god. Later, I temporarily survived in this star domain as a witch god, and at the same time I was looking for the opportunity to restore my soul body. With such scarce resources, even if it took millions of years, or even tens of millions of years, my soul body just recovered a little bit. I know that it is impossible to restore the soul body by normal means, so I can only find a way to devour others' soul. Depends on devouring the soul, but restores his own soul. Speaking of which, the star demon ancestor's eyes flashed with fierceness. Jian Wushuang is staring closely at the star demon ancestor. In the surrounding battlefield, many strong men from both sides are also watching the star demon ancestor. No one came to interrupt the star demon ancestor. Narrative. Actually, restoring and even improving my soul by devouring the souls of others is the method I am best at. In the Eternal Dark Prison, when I performed soul differentiation time and time again, I relied on the souls of those prisoners to recover. But unlike Eternal Dark Prison, this level of star practitioners is really too low. And even the first-level masters are few and few. Most of them are just rulers. I am afraid that the souls of the Lord of the Rules must add thousands, or even tens of thousands together to be comparable to a third-level soul dominated by the Eternal Dark Prison. This is far from enough for me who has already been hit by the soul, so I looked at those high-level life, especially the special life. Star Demon Ancestor smiled. Those high-level ethnic groups or lives, or even special lives, their souls are completely different from normal human cultivators. For me, a soul that devours a high-level life is more than 100 gods. The soul of the ruler is more useful, and devouring a particular life is better than swallowing a master of the second and third series. Chapter 3976. The first is more. Is this why you took control of the witch god religion, arrested special lives, and practiced with special ethnic groups? Jian Wushuang stared at the star demon ancestor in front of him, and then asked, I'm curious, since you are here it's so difficult to restore the soul of a star field. Why not choose to go to other star fields? Haha, other star domains? Star demon ancestor smiled and said, First of all, the universe is full of endless danger. Besides, let alone the large number of star thefts that flow through the universe in all year round is a big trouble. If my strength is at its peak, there is no problem in going to other star domains. But the key is that my soul has been hit hard, and my strength is very low. In this case, I will go to other star domains alone, with a little care. I am afraid I will die. Risk too much. Of course, the most important point is that I know the existence of the primordial realm, and I know that the demon star master has taken away the primal realm. From that moment, I have already started to count the demon star master. Now, I took the initiative to find the Lord of the Clouds, and told him how to maximize the value of the beginning of the world as soon as possible. After listening to this Lord of the Clouds, he was really excited. After all, he also hoped that his strength can increase at the fastest speed. So, I came to the early divine realm, and joined forces with the three sacred realms of the beginning to arrange them together. But the Lord of the Clouds didn't know it at all. The method I propose can indeed bring the early divine realm within the shortest time. It's not him, but me, who has the potential to squeeze it out. If everything goes according to plan, after the plan is completely completed, I can use the power of the early divine realm to fully recover my soul power. And even stronger than before. But unfortunately, because of your appearance, the Great Sanctuary was directly destroyed, and even I could not continue to stay in the world in the early days. The Lord of the Clouds had to come in person, and my previous plan could only be changed. However, what I never expected was that you have severely damaged the Lord of the Clouds in this battle, and even pushed him to a desperate situation, forcing him to burn most of his soul. This has created a, for me, golden opportunity. I know I can't wait any longer, so I shot straight and devoured the soul of the Lord of the Clouds until now. Jian Wushuang, I really have to thank you. If you have forced the Lord of the Clouds so miserably, I do indeed know when that plan will be realized. But now, it's unnecessary. Everything is unnecessary. Consume the soul of the Lord of the Demon Clouds. My own soul has been restored for the most part, and the rest will be restored, and it will be too easy. Star Devil Ancestor laughed heartily. After listening to the Star Demon Ancestor, Jian Wu's eyes dimmed. He already fully understood that the Star Demon Ancestor had already begun to calculate the Lord of the Clouds long ago. The funny thing is that the Lord of the Clouds really thought that the plan proposed by the Star Demon Ancestor was to make him better, bring into play the value of the early gods. But I do indeed know that all the efforts of the Lord of the Demon Clouds have made a wedding dress for the ancestor of the devil in vain. Until now, even his own soul, his own deity, and everything he owns have been taken by the demon the ancestors took it. Star Demon Ancestor, you have counted for so long. It has indeed succeeded in occupying everything of the Demon Star Master. But one thing, you are afraid to forget. Jian Wushuang suddenly said. Forgot what? Star Demon Ancestor looked over. You forgot the status of the Lord of the Demon Cloud. Before you devoured his soul, he was already hit hard. He is afraid that he will not be able to play 10% of his strength. Although you now occupy his body again, you can still play his peak. What is the strength of the period? Jian Wushuang's eyes were cold. I don't care if you are a witch god, an ancestor of the Star Demon, or a master of the Demon Cloud. As long as I am here to kill you, everything can be over. Jian Wushuang's body burst into murderous intentions, and the Wu weapon sword in his hand also trembled slightly, and an astonishing evil swept out. Well, do you want to kill me? Star Demon Ancestor looked at Jian Wushuang with great interest. Jian Wushuang, in eternal dark prism before, all you see is just a soul that I differentiated to control the deities. And at that time you have a red cloud of tokens, which is already invincible. No matter how I use it, there is no use for it. But today, I will let you see the true means of this ancestor. As soon as the voice of the Star Ancestor fell, his body moved directly. There is no sign of this. The ancestor of this Star Demon has already appeared in a cosmic void outside the circle, just not far behind the Prince of Shihua. The speed is fast, like a teleportation. The Star Ancestor's ancestor stared at the Sihua Shinjun in front of him, but there was a flash of enthusiasm in his eyes, followed by a rush. Wow! Wow! A chain of transparent chains exuding a special breath erupted directly from the Star Demon ancestors. These chains are soul chains, and there are 9 of them, each of which contains a strong soul breath. These 9 chains are covering the past as soon as possible, towards the beginning of the Emperor. What? Shihua Jun was surprised. He didn't even think that this ancestor of Star Devil suddenly shot, not only, but also the target he was looking at turned out to be himself. Wu Mingming is Jian Wushuang trying to kill him. But this ancestor of the Star Devil killed himself at first? Shihua Jun snorted coldly. After all, he was the master of the 4th series, and his strength was not weak. He wanted to destroy the 9 souls in the first place. Then, the 9 soul chains emanating from the Star Demon ancestors were not affected by material attacks at all. and even passed directly through the material attacks. In the blink of an eye, they were already covered on the body of the Shihua king. Shishiwa's prince wanted to struggle, but the moment the 9 soul chains touched his body, the phobia of Shiwa's stature was shocked, and a little terror appeared in his eyes. He followed the many strong men in the surrounding battlefield to be able to see that the soul body of the Shihua Shinjun was actually extracted from the body by the 9 soul chains. 9 soul chains completely restrained the soul body of Shihua Shinjun, and then swept away in the direction of the star demon ancestor. Suddenly, the ancestor of Star Devil opened his mouth, and a huge black vortex appeared immediately. Do not. Chapter 3977. Second more. Silent. The entire universe is empty and silent, and needle drops are audible. In the depths of the universe, no matter whether they are from the Taiji Divine Camp or the Demon Star Camp, many of the strong are now widening their eyes and looking at the scene in front of them with incredible faces. Shihua King. That is a real fourth-order master. This kind of master can easily become a second-level astral star master at the very edge of the universe. Although there are many strong players in the field, but in addition to the sword unparalleled, in the early days of the Divine Realm, only the 36 slave warriors formed an immortal battle line before they could contend with this original prince. Ye Ku is such a powerful master, but in just a moment, he was swallowed up by the star demon ancestor, even the soul and the body. There is no room for struggle. The Shihua King has not even had time to resist, and he has already become the ration of the star demon ancestors. This. Jian Wushuang looked at the scene in front of him with a look of astonishment at the moment. After swallowing the soul and body of Shihua King, the black vortex dissipated, and the figure of the star demon ancestor reappeared. But the sword is unparalleled at this moment, but it is extremely clear that the breath emanating from the ancestor of the demon, including the breath of soul, is stronger than before. A lot of injuries have been recovered from his body. Jian Wushuang was startled. He relied on devouring the soul and body of Shihua God, and restored his soul and body. Jian Wushuang immediately got angry. Just now the ancestor of Star Demon himself said that he can rely on devouring the soul of others to restore and enhance his soul. But what Jian Wushuang did not know is that this ancestor of Star Devil can also devour the body of others to restore their own body. That's right. The ancestor of the Star Demon now occupies the demon body of the Lord of the Demon Cloud. This body is too badly damaged, and there is little divine power left. He can't exert any combat power. After he devours the soul of the Prince of Shihua, this ancestor's deity recovered a lot instantly, and even the divine power had been restored by about 20%. The star ancestor of the Xingmao sent out wanton weird laughter. After devouring the soul and body of Shihua Shinjun, he turned his eyes to the 36 strong men who formed the battlefield of Xianhua. The 36 slaves of Jian Wushuang, who had previously formed the battlefield of Xianhua and were entangled with Shihua Lord, were the closest to Shihua Lord. After the star demon ancestors devoured Shihua Lord, they naturally began to fight again. Their attention. See, wow. 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 The transparent soul chains are extended again. Each of these soul chains is extremely fast and unstoppable. Even Shihua Shinjun couldn't stop these souls from expecting directly. The slaves under the sword of Wuxia could not stop, even if relying on the power of the battle line. I saw 9 huge soul chains that directly extended into the battlefield, and almost 9 touched the slaves in the battlefield. Although all of these 9 slaves are dominated by the 3rd rank, and they are still the strongest in the dark when they are in eternal dark prison, there is no room for struggle in the face of this soul chain. I saw that for a moment, the 9 souls were pumped out and uncontrollably looted towards the star demon ancestors. In just a moment, they were swallowed up by the star demon ancestors relentlessly. Oh my! What kind of means is this? Whether it is the 3rd level master or the 4th level master, there is no room for struggle. Escape, rush away, or you will be swallowed up by this ancestor of the star devil. Suddenly, 9 strong men were swallowed up by the star demon ancestors, and the rest of the slaves naturally panicked. and all of them fled away at the fastest speed. Escape! Don't let everyone approach this star demon ancestor. Jian Wushuang also gave a loud drink, and the huge wings behind him stretched out, bursting out at the fastest speed, and wanted to rush to the star demon ancestor and bring the star demon ancestor stopped. However, the ancestors of the star demon knew that Jian Wushuang was perfect life and invincible in soul. The method of detaching the soul he is using now is useful for the 3rd and 4th series masters, and the other party can hardly resist it. This method is useless to swords but is useless. And now that his body has not fully recovered, naturally he does not want to waste time on Jian Wushuang. I saw that the ancestors of the star demon fluttered strangely, like a teleportation in the cosmic void, and in the blink of an eye came to the remaining masters of the demon star. Then a chain of souls was taken out, and a famous master under the demon star immediately became his ration. He followed the ancestor of the demon and went to other places, and thus appeared in one corner after another. The soul chain extended out, devouring the soul and body of a strong man. No one could stop him at all. Even if it is Jian Wushuang, he can only watch it, there is no way. In a blink of an eye, this ancestor of the star devil has devoured thousands of practitioners, including many masters of the rules, and those slaves under the sword unparalleled sword have been devoured by him more than 10. There are also a lot of factions in the camp, which were swallowed up by the ancestors of the star devil. Escape! Flee in the direction of Taichu divine realm. Fast! As long as you escape to the early world of God, this star ancestor can't take us. Don't come together and run away. Taika's high-level powers roared desperately, and Jian Wushuang no longer went after the star demon ancestor, but instead helped the powers of Taika's power to escape at the fastest speed. Fortunately, the battlefield they chose previously was in the void of the universe around Taichu God realm, leaving a retreat for their own camp. Now when they meet the star demon ancestors, they can escape back to Taichu God realm as soon as possible. Otherwise the consequences it's really unthinkable. But even so, there are still a lot of powerful people who have eaten up the soul and the body by the ancestors of the star devil. The vast universe was full of countless practitioners, but now it's empty. Only the star demon ancestor is still standing there. As for the many strong men in the early gods camp and the demon star camp, except for those who were swallowed up, most of them fled to the early divine realm, and a small part of them fled to other places. In the beginning, the world was next to the extreme edge of the void in the universe. Many of the top powers in the Taiyuan divine realm camp are gathered here, but their looks at this moment are extremely ugly. How about the loss? Jian Wushuang looked down at the nearby Martian master and asked lowly. It's miserable. His master has 41 slaves. Now there are only 25 people alive, and nearly half have died. As for the masters of the divine camp in the early days, more than 10 have also died. And on the ruler, fortunately, only hundreds of people were swallowed. Stone Mars said. Chapter 3978. Third more. The reason why there are so many slaves who died under the sword of the sword, mainly because the slaves are very close to the ancestors of the star devil, and those slaves are the third-level masters, which is obviously more attractive to the star demon ancestors. As for the masters of the early gods camp, they are far away from the star demon ancestors, but even so, they have been swallowed by a dozen people. On the contrary, they are the rulers. Although they have been swallowed up by hundreds of people, in the eyes of the high-level powers of the early gods, these hundreds of rulers are far less important than those who dominate. There are 700,000. Fortunately, although the ancestral means of the star devil is against the sky, it should not dare to break directly into the early world of the gods. Jian Wushuang muttered. The universe is empty, and only the solitary ancestor of the star demon is still standing there at this moment. He is standing outside Taichu divine realm, and can sense Jian Wushuang and others who are at the extreme edge of Taichu divine realm. But as Jian Wushuang said, his deity is afraid to break into Taichu divine realm. Once invaded into the early divine realm, even if he now replaces the demon star master to control the heavenly will power of the early divine realm, He still has to be limited by the laws of the universe in the underworld. But the restriction is not so big. Well, did you choose to hide in the beginning of the world? The strange laughter of the star demon ancestor resounded again. Just the others soared unparalleled. You are a perfect practitioner of life. But in terms of soul invincible, why didn't you dare face me? Couldn't you be afraid that it would be impossible for me to swallow my soul and devour it? Qi Jian Wushuang was standing at the very edge of the world in the early days. He could clearly hear the words of the ancestor of the star demon. His face sank slightly, and his hands were clenched tightly. Heavenly friend, do be impulsive. The ancestors of the star demon are strange and unpredictable. Although only the soul means have just been revealed, he has devoured so many strong people. His current strength does not know how much he has recovered, whether the combat power can be comparable to the demon star master. Or should it be stronger? If you go out now, it is likely to be in the middle of him. Yes, this star demon ancestor obviously wants to provoke your master to go out. Stone Mars also said, My dear friend, you are the hope of my early gods. Only when you break through and become the master of the early gods again, will my early gods be able to escape the crisis. And now, although we are forced to escape to the early gods' world, but it's okay. This star demon ancestor is only one person no matter how strong. And his deity does not dare to enter the kingdom of the early gods. Naturally it can't help us. Be careful to be killed by him. Then my world was really over in the beginning. The Lord of Time and Space also solemnly said. Fu Jun Lung Rushuang also looked over. I know all of what you said. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly, and his hands slowly relaxed. Relax, I'm not stupid. I wouldn't be in the middle of such a simple challenge. And this battle, Magic Yun Xing's army, has been completely defeated. The ancestor of the Star Devil alone is not a great threat to my deity. From the beginning, the expected results of the early god's side were more sought after, which was to defeat the army of His Majesty, and make it impossible for the army of His Majesty to enter the early gods. This is also a type they can accept. Victory. Now the Demon Star army has long been defeated. Only the Demon Star Master is left. Even if he is in control of the heavenly will of the early gods, if there is no help in the early gods, he should not be able to get the early gods. How is the world? Chapter 3979. The first is more. Rumble. The huge black vortex, which has a diameter of more than 10 million miles, is spinning wildly, and an incredible engulfing power bursts out. This engulfing force directly acts on the early world. Suddenly, many powerful men in the early divine realm, including Jian Wushuang and others, could feel very clearly at this moment that the vitality of the early divine realm was passing. This lapse is not just a short lapse, but a continuous flow with the devouring power of the black vortex. This scene made many of the powerful men in the Taiji divine camp embarrassed. Is he really devouring the early world? The whole vitality of the early divine realm is being devoured, and the speed is very fast. Impossible, how could this happen? Before I spoke of the devouring ancestors of the star demon ancestors, I also felt that many powerful people who sneered at them were shocked. None of them thought that the ancestor of the star devil could really devour one side of the world as he said. Life is swallowed up too fast. If it has been swallowed at this rate, for at least 10 years, the vitality of the early gods, including everything in the early gods, will be completely swallowed up by this star demon ancestor. Pure. Mysterious man looks extremely ugly. Disaster. This is the biggest disaster in the world of my god. Even if the demon lord of the clouds, he just wanted to speed up the evolution process of the early world, so that the early world would end its life in the shortest time. But now, the ancestor of the star devil is going to devour the entire Taichu divine realm directly, and let the whole Taichu divine realm become his ration. This is naturally an unprecedented catastrophe for the Taichu divine realm. It's over in the beginning. No way. There is no way. We can only watch the world in the early days being devoured by this ancestor of the star devil. What we can do, we have already done it. But in the end, can't we change the end of the destruction of the gods in the beginning? Nuwa many practitioners who originally belonged to the early world of the gods were mourning at this moment. To prepare for this battle they prepared too much. They thought that as long as they defeated the Demon Star army, the world would be spared in the early days. However, they did not expect the sudden appearance of this star demon ancestor. But they let the early gods. The world is in a bigger disaster. Moreover, this disaster is almost irreversible. At this moment, Jian Wushuang also clenched his hands and looked up at the black vortex whose diameter was more than 10 million miles. And his figure was shaking slightly. Fu Jun, the cold frost next to the uncle, looked over, but with a smile on her face. You have tried your best. The end is like this. You don't need to blame yourself. Yes. Mysterious Shinto nodded slightly. You have done your best, but the appearance of the ancestor of the Star Devil. No one had thought of it. It seems that it is destined that I will be suffering from this calamity in the early days. Tianho Xiaoyu. Your talent, Zhuju. The potential is unlimited. There is no need to stay in the early gods like me. If you can, you take your wife and leave. Leave? Jian Wushuang glanced at Xian Shinto. What about you? I am waiting for a few people to be different from you. We have lived long enough, and we have already reached the end of our journey. Even if we are given the opportunity to travel to the depths of the universe, I am afraid it will be difficult to make any further progress. We might as well stay in Taichu Divine Realm, and live and die with Taichu Divine Realm. Xian Shinto laughed. Haha, Xian Shen is right. Our potential has been exhausted long ago. It is also luck that we can live to this day. But Xiaoho Yuyu, if you travel to the depths of the universe, you can achieve greater success, even in the future. Chapter 3980. Second More. Last Hope. Wu Xian Shinto, the Lord of Time and Space, and the many strong men in the surrounding Taiji Divine Camp all looked at Jian Wushuang in succession. Frost. At the moment, Wu Jianshuang looked at his wife tenderly, with a slight smile. I really want to walk with you to the world, and to travel all corners of the universe, but I'm sorry. Fu Jun Lung Rushwang's eyes were wet immediately, looking at the blood dan taken out by Jian Wushuang. And what Jian Wushuang said, she had guessed something faintly, only to see her smile slightly. These in fact, I am very satisfied. You can rest assured. Don't worry about me. If you die, I will never live one more day than you. Shi Jian Wushuang stunned. He took a deep look at his wife, and he could see the decisiveness in his breath. He nodded, and Jian Wushuang swept directly into the void of the universe. At the beginning of the Taiyuan deity camp, many practitioners were almost desperate, but suddenly they all saw the figure swept away from the void of the universe. I am the Lord of the Blood Sword. The Lord of the Blood Sword. Will you go out and fight the Star Demon Patriarch? I don't know why. When they saw the swordless twins rushing out, these practitioners who had been desperate had suddenly a little hope in their hearts. Yes, Jian Wushuang is their only hope. Star Demon Patriarch. With a loud blast, he exploded in the cosmic void, and Jian Wushuang had left the early divine realm and returned to the cosmic void. Previously, because the Demon Star army had been defeated, and only the Star Demon Patriarch was left, everyone felt that the Star Demon Patriarch alone could hardly really threaten the early gods. Therefore, Sword Wushuang did not need to take risks. It was not necessary. Spell. I now know that after the Star Demon Ancestor can directly devour the primordial world within 10 years, Jian Wushuang will have to fight desperately with the Star Demon Ancestor. Buzzing humming. The huge black vortex suddenly stopped, followed by convergence at an alarming rate. Soon, the black vortex completely disappeared, and the figure of the Star Demon Ancestor gradually emerged. Haha, Jian Wushuang, now finally can you let it go? Star Demon Ancestor looked at Jian Wushuang, but with a strange smile on his face. Wu Jian has no double-sided color, is cold, and never speaks. And in his two hands, he holds the Wu Cry Excalibur with one hand, and the other hand holds the blood-colored elixir. The elixir was his only chance, but he did not plan to swallow the elixir immediately. Although this Star Demon Ancestor devoured the Sihua Lord before, and many masters still have a lot of rules, but his combat power should not have recovered to the highest level. Jian Wushuang stared at the star demon ancestor. He can feel that the deity occupied by the ancestor of the star demon originally from the Lord of the Clouds has not yet reached the peak state, and there is still a large gap from the peak state. First try his current fighting power. Sword Wu's eyes flickered, and immediately the three towering town monuments rose directly. A burst of gold light flickered, and in the blink of an eye, the magic town Tianfa array was already formed. There was a strong repressive force acting on the ancestors of Xingma, but the ancestors of Xingma still smiled, as if they had not been affected in any way. French array kill, sword formation wave light. Booming rumbling. The endless golden light sword is swept out by the ocean, and the mighty madness rushes towards the star demon ancestor. The star ancestor of the star only casually glanced at the golden light in front of the ocean, but the corner of his mouth showed a slight disdain. Joke. I saw the star demon ancestor waved at will, and suddenly, a black divine power swept directly out. This black divine power is extremely special, completely different from the divine power of ordinary practitioners, and much more powerful than the divine power of ordinary practitioners. It's this kind of power again. Jian Wu's eyes narrowed sharply. He remembered very well that in the eternal dark prison, he had used the vein of red clouds to suppress this star demon ancestor. But the star demon ancestor could still mobilize a very special power, which was not only special weird. And it's amazing. The ancestral ancestor himself also said at the time that the reason why Hong Yunimai would suppress him was because he had mastered this special power. Now, the ancestor of the star devil uses the special body of the Lord of the Clouds to use this special power again. Although the body of the Lord of the Clouds has not yet recovered to its peak, the strength of the ancestor of the star is not at its peak. But when this black divine power diffuses, crash quickalaxiu, round after round golden sword intended to be ruthless strangling wave off, or even directly to the final collapse of the gold sword intended to integrate directly impact the ocean are open. Sun just waved his hands at will, and the swordsman, and the magic sword town Tianfa array, combined with the light sword array has been directly defeated. Although Jian Wushuang at the moment did not perform dragon mystery, nor could it trigger the primitive universe, as long as it is displayed in conjunction with the Shinma town Tianfa formation. Even if it encounters the ordinary 4th level master, it can barely entangle 1 or 2, but this ancestral ancestor, very strong, even if he hasn't reached its peak yet. His combat power is still far more powerful than the previous Demon Star, and he swallowed the soul of Demon Star, mastering everything about the Lord of the Clouds. Naturally also includes the trace of the universe's rules. But when the ancestor of the stars and the Celtics first shot, he never used the rules of the universe. The sword has no double-sided gloom, simple confrontation. He has understood that, even with his own strength, even if he can perform the dragon extinction technique, even if he can also perform the primitive universe, he still can't compete with this star demon ancestor. He could only pin all hope on the bloodstained panacea in the palm of his hand. Fengma Senior, you elixir, don't let me down. The double-sided sword of Wu Jian has been completely twisted and became extremely embarrassed. He knows that the elixir is likely to die once he swallows himself. And at this moment, he is ready to die. I didn't hesitate. Jian Wushuang swallowed the panacea clenched in the left palm directly. When the panacea was inserted into the body, Jian Wushuang only felt that his throat was dry. And at first there was nothing strange. But after the syringa really swallowed in the belly, bang! An unexpected power broke out suddenly. This mighty power, with an ancient will, swept directly in all directions. Rumbling. At this moment, the entire universe is trembling madly. At this moment, the vast universe is under the control of that ancient will. At the same time, a vast message suddenly surged towards the sword, unparalleled like a tide. Chapter 3981. Third more. The sword is unparalleled at this moment, but his head is a little cyanotic. He thought that the blood-stained elixir was the pure elixir that could increase his strength in a short period of time. But now that he actually swallows it, he finds that the result is not the case. At least this hemochromic medicine contains more than just that kind of medicine power. It also carries an ancient will power and a vast message. This vast message is, first of all, about the use and history of this elixir. Hongling Baodan. Wu Jianwushuang didn't know the real name of this blood-colored elixir until now. Ku about the origins and uses of this Hongling Baodan, but surprised Jianwushuang. Hongling Baodan, the supreme level of elixir. After taking it, whether it is the ruler, the chaos master or the supreme, you can directly fall into the state of epiphany. In this state of epiphany, both the speed of cultivation and the speed of enlightenment can be directly increased 100 times. This elixir is one of the most desirable and enthusiastic elixir in the vast universe. Even the supreme level of the elixir is extremely eager for this elixir. A brief introduction made Jian Wushuang startled. This elixir is completely different from what Fengma predecessors said. When in the special time and space, Feng Mo gave him the scarlet elixir. The Wind Devil clearly said that the elixir was the kind of elixir that could increase his power in a short time. But the side effect of this elixir was extremely great. Once swallowed, he might even die. Wu Jinshuang remembered it clearly. Fengma did say so, so he always regarded the elixir as the strongest whole card. Until the last moment, he was unwilling to swallow the elixir and fight for his own life. But now, when the elixir is actually swallowed, the elixir information available is not the same at all. This blood-colored elixir, called Hongling Baodan, is a kind of elixir that can be used to help people to practice enlightenment in a short period of time. It is also very high level. If this elixir is usually obtained, Jian Wushuang will certainly be ecstatic. After all, how rare is epiphany? But now, he swallowed this elixir to fight desperately with the star demon ancestor. At this time, what was the epiphany? Wu Jian's heart was bitter, and he didn't know why the wind demon had to make such a big oolong. But the message that came to his mind made Jian Wushuang completely understand. The following messages were left to him by the wind demon. Jian Wushuang, since you can see this message, you should have swallowed the elixir I gave you. How about it? Did you not think of it? Is it a little dumbfounded? Haha. Fengma is obvious this was done deliberately, and the message left was full of jokes. Let's get back to the truth. I must first tell you, indeed, I lied to you. The elixir I gave you is nothing at all that can increase your strength in a short time. But the price is extremely high, and it will even directly affect you. Dead elixir. I can't give you such an elixir. After all, your kid understands a bit of the law of the universe at the level of the rule master. Such a super genius, even if I'm Ling Yunqing, must be regarded as a treasure. And how could I give you this kind of elixir? Of course, the reason why I would lie to you is mainly to hone you. If I tell you the true use of this elixir, you swallowed it earlier, the strength increased, and the trouble was easily solved. What is it? The sword is not bizarre. He now understands that the Wind Devil has lied to himself from the beginning. Obviously he has such a great elixir, but told him that this elixir is used desperately at a critical time. And he did not even think of Feng Mo's identity at that time. He would lie to himself, and did not expect to go up there. Of course, Feng Mo deceived him like this, and the starting point was also for his good. Wu Jianso continued to listen. Jiang Wushuang, you listen well. This Hongling Baodan you swallowed now is one of the top elixirs in the vast universe, but it has made countless supreme eyes and even scramble for it. Of course, although the elixir itself is precious, in this elixir, the Star Master has left a trace of will. This will is truly the most precious and most important. It is even more rare than the Hongling Baodan. Many more. Fengma said again. Will. Jian Wushuang stunned. He swallowed Hongling Baodan, and instantly an ancient and majestic will rose up, and now completely covered the entire void of the universe. Is this ancient will left by Master Lingyun? No wonder it was so arrogant. This elixir was originally prepared by the Star Master for his own personal disciples, but unfortunately, the war came too suddenly, and the Star Master has not had time to collect a self-disciplined disciple. And this elixir has been with us all the time. In the special time and space of the film, until you pass the test of the 18th set by the Lord of the Stars. At that time we felt that you were qualified to become the disciple of the Lord of the Stars. But it was just barely qualified. Plus yours the saint did not die at that time. And the strength was too weak. If this elixir was given to you at that time, it would be too wasteful. So instead of giving it directly to you at that time, you were asked to choose an inner star secret technique. But then when you come to that special time and space again, not only did you break through and become the ruler of the rule, but you also unbelievably comprehended a trace of the law of the universe. Alas, the ruler comprehended a trace of the law of the universe. And you are perfect, the practitioner of life level. With this talent, I am afraid that the entire vast universe cannot find a second person. So at that time we decided that you must be a star disciple. Here you come to us to save time. I will discuss with several other brothers. Was Lingbao gold medal in Hongdan to you? Jian Wushuang, I lied to you, letting you swallow this Hongling Baodan at the moment of life and death. Then you must be in a very crisis situation now. But it doesn't matter, in a crisis situation, as long as the master's will is awakened, no one can hurt you. And this Hongling Baodan not only gives you to enter the state of epiphany, the most important thing is that after the master's will is awakened, it will give you great chance fortune. This chance fortune is actually many guidelines left by the master. It is his understanding of the rules of heaven and earth, the understanding of the laws of the universe, as well as various aspects of refining, alchemy and formation, as well as various taos, such as knife, sword and gundo. He is an invincible supreme. He has unique insights in all aspects. Chapter 3982. The first is more. 100 years. The will of the Lord Ling Yun taught me 100 years in person, and he is still swallowing Hongling Baodan, in an epiphany state. Jian Wushuang's mind was a little dazed. Jian Wushuang, although it is only 100 years old, it is an incredible creation for any master. And you are just the master of the rules, and you get this opportunity in a desperate situation. Your harvest will be it's going to be bigger. So rare this once-in-lifetime opportunity. Do NT live up to my hard work. Here, the message is completely interrupted. Wu Qijian's heart was completely unable to calm down. At this moment, he can clearly sense the existence of that ancient will. This ancient will is left by the invincible and supreme level Lord Lingyun. Even if it is only a trace of will, it can still make the laws of the universe retreat. And this ancient will now covers the entire universe. The ancestor of the star demon standing in front of Jian Wu's face was full of teasing smiles. But now he can't laugh at all, because he also felt Jian Wushuang. That will. This will covers everything in the void of the universe. And he is also covered by this ancient will. At this moment, he only feels that his thoughts are completely frozen. He stood there with his eyes wide. He wanted to open his mouth, but found that he couldn't move at all. I can't even move my mouth, let alone shoot against the sword. What the is this anyway? Star Demon Ancestor was furious, and his heart was screaming frantically. He didn't know what happened to Jian Wushuang. He only knew that he was unable to move under that will now. He stood in front of Jian Wushuang like a sculpture like this. At the moment, Jian Wushuang sat down in the cosmic void, and even closed his eyes. Wu Hongling Baodan has been swallowed by him, and the power of the elixir has been exerted, allowing Jian Wushuang to quickly enter a state of mystery and mystery, which is the state of epiphany that countless practitioners have dreamed of. In the state of epiphany, the speed of the practitioner's realization will be multiplied exponentially. At this time, a hazy figure had appeared in Jian Wushuang's mind. This figure is extremely tall and magnificent, but at the same time it gives a very intimate feeling. Wu Jianwushuang understood that this dim figure was the master of Lingyun. This Lingyun star is a will at this moment, and penetrates into his mind, preaching directly in his mind. Master Ling Yunqing began to preach. Because Jian Wushuang is only the master of rules, and he is good at the relationship between the universe and the laws of the universe. This Ling Yunqing mostly teaches about the rules, the disciplines of kendo, and the laws of the universe. Wu Jianshuang is listening carefully. He has a very high level of understanding. With the help of Hongling Baodan, the speed of understanding is even more incredible. What Ling Yunxing almost said, Jian Wushuang understood everything. Wu Jianwushuang also knows that this opportunity is rare. He has no waste at all and has been listening, understanding, and understanding. But Ling Yun's Star Master, that is a supreme person who has reached the level of invincibility. Even in the vast universe, he is also a supreme figure of a hegemon. He talks about everything from shallow to deep, and it is useful to the sword unparalleled, and very helpful. Time began to slowly pass, and in the cosmic void, less than half an hour had passed. But in the world of consciousness of sword unparalleled, it had been a full 3 years. In just 3 years, Jian Wushuang has realized the fifth rule, the rule of gold. At the time, Jian Wushuang had tested his affinity with the rules of heaven and earth. Among them, the rule of gold and his affinity were no less than the rules of earth. Before he fully understood the rules of the earth, and the 4 rules were merged, he began to explore the fifth rule. This fifth rule is the rule of gold. Before the start of this war, Jian Wushuang's rules on gold were somewhat enlightened, but the level of perception was not high. But now, with the help of Hongling Baodan, Jian Wushuang listened to Ling Yunxing's introduction to the rules of gold. From shallow to deep, it contained everything of the rules of gold. In just 3 years, Jian Wushuang changed the rules of gold, completely enlightened. And this is just the beginning. In the 13th year of the Epiphany, the 6th rule, the dark rule, is fully enlightened. In the 31st year, Jian Wushuang's Kendo made great progress, reaching the first major achievement of the Kendo universe. At this level, many of the 4th level masters who are good at Kendo did not reach. In the 45th year, Jian Wushuang made another breakthrough in Kendo, reaching the first completeness of the origin of Kendo universe. Simply understanding of Kendo's understanding is already comparable to the 5th level master. In the 78th year, Jian Wushuang's understanding of the laws of the universe increased greatly, from barely grasping a trace to the threshold of truly entering the laws of the universe. In the 82nd year, the 5th rule of gold, which was learned by Jian Wushuang, was combined with the other 4 rules. Since then the 5 rules have merged. In the 99th year, Jian Wushuang's confrontation together reached a new level, and it was already comparable to some masters in the universe who are better at array, such as Blood Rain Demon. I finally reached the 100th and final year. This last year the effect of the Hongling Baodan has already been consumed. This year, the sword is unparalleled, and has not made much progress. Instead, it integrates the previous 99 years' experience. The vast universe is in the void. Buzzing. The ancient will that existed for a day and night finally dissipated slowly. The vast cosmic void has also restored peace, and the ancestor of the Star Devil has finally restored his ability to move at this moment. Did it finally dissipate? The Star Ancestor clenched his teeth, looking extremely ugly. Even though it was urgent and lasted for a day and night, but on this day and night, he was full of pride and was deterred by that will. He could not move at all. He could always feel the arrogance and terrible of that ancient will. Supreme, it must be the will of the Supreme Strong, and I am afraid that it is not the ordinary Supreme. The ancestor of the Xingxing demon has an extraordinary origin, and his knowledge is not low. He can naturally perceive the mastery of the master of the will. A single wire of will is strong enough to deter the void of the entire universe, and even to avoid the laws of the universe. Such a strong man, even in the deepest part of the universe, must be a hegemonic level of existence. What does this sword have? What did you do? Chapter 3983. Second more. He is not only the ancestor of the Star Devil, but also the many powerful men in the early Divine Realm camp, which are close to the edge of the universe at the moment. None of them understand what happened to Jian Wushuang. They are as full of doubts and puzzles as Star Demon ancestors. What is going on with the Lord of the Blood Sword? I don't know, but looking at it like this seems to be practicing cultivation. What a joke. Many of the strong men in the Taiyuan Divine Realm camp looked strange. Neither of them can believe that at this moment of life and death, the Lord of the Blood Sword still has the mood to cultivate. But looking at him sitting cross-legged in the void of the universe, it is indeed a cultivation practice. And it seems that the ancestor of the Star Devil has not disturbed his cultivation. Girl Frost, you are the wife of Tianho Xiaoyu. Do you know what this is? The Xian Shinto man looked at Leng Rushuang. I don't know. Leng Rushuang shook his head slightly. Fu Jun took out a blood-stained elixir and said something like that. As far as I know him, he should want to use the blood-stained elixir. It's right to be desperate with this star demon ancestor, but this result. Cold and frosty, my heart was very puzzled. In fact, I don't blame them, even if Jian Wushuang himself. I had never expected that this would be the situation. And now 1 day and 1 night has passed, and a full 100 years have passed in the space of consciousness. The training of Jian Wushuang has finally come to an end. Even though cultivation has stopped, Jian Wushuang still hasn't opened his eyes, and his body has a majestic divine power gathered wildly. Boom! Suddenly, the entire void of the universe was shocked, and then a new breath of divine power began to emerge from Jian Wushuang's body. This is the breath of divine power that dominates the level. The star ancestor's face changed suddenly. Dominate the breath. At the moment, many powerful men in Taiji's divine realm were felt, and all of them were shocked. Master, you can't be wrong. This is indeed the atmosphere of the master level, Tianho Xiaoyu. Could it have broken through to become master? Xian Shinto man stared with wide eyes and stared at Jian Wushuang with incredible face. And deep in that eye at the same time, he also carried an unprecedented excitement. Breakthrough? He sat in that cosmic void and practiced for a while, then broke through? At the moment, the Lord of Time and Space, the Lord of the Heavens, the King of Heaven, the Emperor 13, and all the powerful men in the early divine realm are somewhat unbelievable at this moment. But in addition to being incredible, more is an unprecedented excitement and ecstasy. You must know that Jian Wushuang is a practitioner of perfect life level. Once he breaks through and reaches the dominion, he can easily retake the primordial divine realm, and naturally, the primordial divine realm can turn into danger. However, the practitioners of the perfect level of life have to break from the master of the rules to reach the master. The difficulty is too great. They have asked Jian Wushuang before. Jian Wushuang himself said that he is far from the master. Breakthrough. Just because Jian Wushuang couldn't break through the master, they had to choose to fight against the Devil's Star as a last resort. Until now, the ancestor of the devil was drawn. But whoever thought that Jian Wushuang broke through at this time? Is it really a breakthrough? Or is it because of that blood-colored elixir that it has temporarily risen to the level of dominance? The Lord of the Martian said suddenly. When he said this, the hearts of the many powerful men in the Taiji divine camp were tight again, and all eyes immediately looked at them. Breakthrough dominated? This is impossible. Star Demon Ancestor stared at the sword Wushuang in front of him, unwilling to believe at all. I can just now. Boom! The universe was empty, and there was a loud roar. The ancestors of the Star Demon, and the countless strong men in the Taiji divine camp, were all shocked by this roar, and everyone looked up at the same moment. I saw the top of the cosmic void, rumbling, that dark and boundless cosmic space, as if forcibly penetrated by people. A huge boundless cosmic void appeared out of thin air. This cosmic black hole is too big, occupying almost half of the cosmic void. He followed closely, and from that cosmic void, there was a loud noise. The dazzling rays of light lit up, and a supreme rule came suddenly. This rule is superb and supreme. As soon as he appeared, the entire void of the universe was completely condensed. I was in the starry ancestor of this universe, staring at this scene with wide eyes. This is the law of the universe. The law of the universe is coming. In the Taizhou divine realm, countless strong men in the Taizhou divine realm were also stunned. It is the law of the universe, and the law of the universe comes down in person. It's really the legendary law of the universe. What's going on? The law of the universe was attracted by the Lord of the Blood Sword. I screamed in exclamation, ringing out. The Xian Shinto, the Lord of Time and Space, the Lord of the Heavens and the Heaven, and the Heavenly Ancestor looked at each other. and the eyes of the four were filled with unprecedented shock. The law of the universe is coming, and they are no stranger to this scene. At the beginning of the divine realm, Jian Wushuang, refining the ancient chaotic world into his own secret world, also caused the law of the universe to come down in person. It's just that the magnitude of that advent was relatively small, and the law of the universe came through the beginning of the divine realm. But this time it descended directly into the cosmic void, and the law of the universe that came down was significantly more extensive, more majestic. And the same is that the last time the universe law came, because of the sword warriors, this time the universe law came, or because the sword warriors. It's Tian Ho Xiaoyu. It must be that he broke through the master, which led to the coming of the law of the universe himself. Xian Shinto shouted in surprise. Is it really the Lord of the Blood Sword that breaks through? A breakthrough from the ruler of the rule leads to the coming of the laws of the universe? Many of the strong men in the divine realm camp face each other, and the shock in their hearts cannot be described in words. In fact, what the mysterious Shinto people say is not wrong. Is a breakthrough. Before the start of the war, he was really far from the master level. After all, he only just realized the fifth rule, and the perfect life level must break through the rule's master. Chapter 3984. The first is more. From the beginning of understanding the fifth rule to the direct fusion of the five rules, she has even realized the sixth rule. As for Kendo, he has achieved the first completeness of the origin of the universe of the sword, and his perception of the laws of the universe has also been greatly improved. I can say that this century has been a qualitative leap for him, and his original understanding of the rules was still not enough to let him break through to dominate. But the key is that Jian Wushuang's perception of Kendo and the laws of the universe is too high, which has greatly promoted him. Until now, he was finally the master of the rules. The breakthrough reached the master, and the breakthrough, the law of the universe, immediately came. The law of the universe came, and Jian Wushuang encountered it before. The law of the universe came, and the momentum was not as great as this time. But the law of the universe still gave him a gift of supernatural power and a mighty will. And this time the advent of the universe law did not give Jian Wushuang the talented supernatural power, but also gave Jian Wushuang a willpower. And this willpower is much stronger than the willpower he first obtained. When the first law of the universe came down, the willpower given to him would double his attack power directly. And now this willpower, but let his attack power directly increase 10 times. Not only that, Jian Wushuang also faintly noticed the willpower given by the laws of the universe this time, and also carried some incomparable special powers. This kind of power is beyond the reach of Jian Wushuang. In the cosmic void, Jian Wushuang still sat there with his eyes closed slightly. He is feeling his change. From the breakthrough of the rule to the master, this is a qualitative transformation for ordinary practitioners, not to mention the sword unparalleled. The perfect life-level practitioner, at the moment when he broke through his dominance, both the divine body and soul have been unprecedentedly improved, and his divine power has also undergone transformation. Finally, everything calmed down. The transformation of Jian Wushuang has been completed, and the law of the universe that came down slowly converges and dissipates. The cosmic void has once again restored its former darkness and tranquility. What's different is that the star demon ancestor at this moment has long lost the former randomness and calmness. On the contrary, his look is still extremely dignified. The star ancestor stared at the sword Wushuang in front of him, although Jian Wushuang still sat there with no intention of shooting, but the star ancestors could feel a tremendous pressure from Jian Wushuang. This kind of pressure has never been experienced in previous wars. How come? His previous combat power was also the highest in the third rank. Relying on the sword array and the rule of treasure, he barely competed with the fourth rank. Only by performing the magic of burning magic and many whole cards can he threaten the ordinary fourth. The level dominates, and even now, even if he has broken through to reach the domination, it should only be a transformation of divine power and soul. The improvement of this divine power should be too outrageous for his overall strength. Why? Why is the pressure he is putting on now so great? The ancestor of Xingemo is a little confused. However, he did not know that Jian Wushuang only broke through from the master of the rule to dominate. The overall improvement of the strength was really small, but the key was the day he had learned before. And he spent a full 100 years in the conscious space. He made great progress in the year. Now when he breaks through the domination, he can make up for his divine power. Compared with the previous strength, he is completely different from the world. Buzz, Sword Wushuang, who was sitting in the void of the universe, opened his eyes suddenly, and his figure slowly stood up. On him, a powerful dominating breath condensed, and the magnificent power swept away. Divine power is determined by the strength of the divine power. Before the sword, Wushuang was only the master of the rules. Because of the special life level, the divine power is comparable to the general master, and the divine power is naturally the general master. But now he breaks through the domination, and because the 5 rules have been merged, a breakthrough is the second-level master, plus the speciality of perfect life, which makes him instantly comparable to the 3rd level in the basic divine power. Dominate the hierarchy. That supernatural power is naturally at the 3rd level. But this is just the basic divine power. The many mysteries and techniques of Wushuo's unparalleled have not yet been cast. Dominate. It took so many years and put in so much effort. Until now, it has finally broken through to dominate. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands tightly, and now he was exuding a strong light. In the Taizhou Divine Realm, the many powerful men in the Taizhou Divine Realm have already been amazed. Haha, it really broke through, the Lord of the Blood Sword. He really broke through and reached the domination. It's not that you swallowed the elixir and reached the level of dominance in a short period of time, but it is real. It broke through and became the dominator. Seeing this might, it is by no means ordinary. Well, before the master breaks through, the combat power can already rival the 4th-level master. Now that he breaks through, how strong is his strength? In the early days, there was a salvation. Many of the strong men in the Taiyuan divine camp were extremely excited, especially the Xianxin Taoist and the Lord of Time and Space. They are very few, but they are very clear how significant the significance of the whole Taichu world after Jian Wushuang broke through the domination. After all, only by breaking through the dominance of Jian Wushuang can he regain the kingdom of Taichu Divine, and then he can truly get rid of the crisis of Taichu Divine Realm. Now Jian Wushuang has finally achieved it. Then, the only trouble is that Star Demon Ancestor, Star Demon Patriarch. Yan Jian Wushuang's eyes resemble electricity, and a heartbreaking limang erupts, staring at the ancestor of the Star Demon. Deep in the eyes, there is an astonishing killing intention condensing there. I won't go in, just break from the rule master to reach the master. Where can your strength go? Star Demon Ancestor hummed. I will let you see it. Jian Wushuang did not have any nonsense. Wu Wei's Excalibur has already appeared in his hands, followed him and shot directly. Buzzing. The astounding mighty power erupted from the 3 town monuments, forming a huge town of gods and magic. Chapter 3985. Second more. Boom. The entire universe, which is covered by the magic circle of the magic town, shivered wildly. The Star Demon Ancestor in the center of the French array was also under the force of suppression for the first time, and his complexion couldn't help sinking. Same law formation, but now the power has suddenly improved so much. Star Devil Ancestor frowned. If it was said that Jian Wushuang used to cast the magic circle of heaven and earth at full strength, it would be very difficult for him to influence him. Even he could break into the magic circle silently, and could leave the magic circle of the magic circle at any time. But now, standing in the magic circle of the magic town, the ancestor of the Star Devil can feel that he is enduring the tremendous force of repression all the time. This force of repression is so powerful that he cannot get rid of it at all. Naturally, there is no way to move freely in this heavy circle. The sword is unparalleled. I saw the sky full of sword-like oceans swept up again, and the sword-shaped ocean was permeated with a thick layer of golden light. Wow! The horrible power burst out, and this golden light sword-shaped ocean frantically formed a shock. This terrible and violent wave came from all directions towards the star demon ancestors. Is also a golden light sword wave, but whether it is powerful or powerful, it is much stronger than before. Humph! The star ancestor murmured with a cold voice, still shaking his hand, and the unique black divine power swept out again. Before the sword Wuxia also fully exerted the wave lightsaber array. As a result, the star demon ancestor simply waved his sword array, and his sword array collapsed directly. But now, pung pung! The first heavy golden light sword wave collided directly with the black divine power, but it produced a fierce roar, and immediately the golden light sword wave broke, and the black divine power also dissipated directly. What? Star demon ancestor was startled. With the same move, he directly destroyed the sword array that defeated Jian Wuxia directly. But this time, it was just the first heavy sword wave of this sword. See? You know, this sword means ocean, but it is endless. Howling. I saw the sky full of golden light swords and waves rising wildly, forming a heavy tsunami, slamming insanely. The star ancestor's face changed drastically. He had to take out a black sickle. The black sickle waved wildly, and chopped out a dark knife light. Each of these dark knife lights carried that special black divine power. Pung pung, 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 pung. The dense sound of clashes continued to sound. The ancestor of the star devil waved a sickle and collided with the waves. But the waves were endless, one after the other, and never ending. How come? How can these sword-like waves of power suddenly improve so much at once? Too strong, these sword-like waves. I am afraid that any one of them reached the level of the 4th grade, even if I have to go all out to resist it. The star ancestor horrified. After the strength reaches the 4th level, the improvement of each level is very difficult. Like the Lord of the Clouds, he just broke through to reach the 4th rank shortly, but relying on a rule that is suitable for his own use, and with a glimpse of a universe of laws, he broke out with all his strength, and he could barely break out the 4th rank peak force. But this outbreak is really reluctant. The ancestor of Star Demon, after taking away everything from the Lord of the Clouds, is stronger than the Lord of the Clouds, and because he has mastered the relationship of that unique power, his combat power is definitely 4th. The top of the series is even the extreme of the 4th series. But there are 2 points. First of all, the star ancestor's combat power has not reached its peak, because when he occupied the main body of the demon star can't be miserable anymore. Although he later swallowed a large number of practitioners, his state recovered. Less, but at most only 70% of the fighting force was restored. What's more, Jian Wuxia now controls the 3 town monuments, and the effect of performing the magic and magic town Tianfa array on his suppression is extremely amazing, allowing his strength to once again diminish. This resulted in the face of a heavy sword-like wave from Jian Wuxia, and he had to go all out, not only to use the special power he possessed, but also to use the laws of the universe to barely block it. But it only came to resist the impact of that sword-like wave. The ancestor of Xingma is very clear that the sword wave in the sword array is endless. He can only resist for a while, but if it is a long time, it will be difficult for him to resist. In addition, there is another important point, that is Jian Wuxia has not yet performed the mystery of burning power. Yes, Jian Wuxia did not perform the mystery of dragon extermination, but only relied on his own power to greatly increase after breaking through the domination, plus his own awareness of kendo, the laws of the universe, and the magic of heaven and magic in wave of swords. The combination has completely suppressed the ancestor of the Star Devil. In the ocean of swords, the waves of swords and violent impacts that went crazy and violent did indeed reach the 4th level peak level. Although it was barely reached, it was still outrageous. Just by using the wave of lightsaber array in a normal way, can you already suppress this star demon ancestor? Jian Wuxia squinted his eyes slightly, looking at the star demon ancestor with a hint of coldness. Hajawara thought that even if he broke through, he would have to fight hard against the star demon ancestors, But now it seems that this is not the case. He doesn't need to cast his strongest card Primitive Universe at all, even he doesn't need to cast Dragon Demystifying Burning Power anymore now. Wu Jian Wushuang stared indifferently at the Star Demon Ancestor, but the Wu Wei Excalibur in his hand was slowly raised. The entire universe is void, and Jian Wushuang has become the absolute focus. Everyone is staring at Jian Wushuang, staring at the sword in his hand. He closed his eyes. Before he was in that consciousness space for 100 years, he felt a lot of thoughts on kendo. Instantly, a new type of swordsmanship had taken shape. This sword, I am named Nirvana. After this sword, in the beginning of my life, the world of God will completely shake off the crisis and welcome the new life of Nirvana. From now on, in the beginning, the world will sit back and relax. Wu Jianshuang's eyes opened sharply. His eyes seemed to have the power of thunder flash away. And the Wu Cry Excalibur held high in his hands, it fell coldly. Chapter 3986. The first is more. Howl. That clip with the strong cosmic law, and the shocking sword of the new will power cut off. The moment when this sword light appeared and was ruthlessly cut, even if it was the ancestor of the star demon, its mind and body could not be shuttered. There was an unprecedented death crisis that shrouded the hearts of the star demon ancestors. The ancestor of the star demon is desperately desperate, and the vast black divine power on his body has swept wildly. He has exerted this special power, he has mastered to the extreme, and he has also done his best to exert his current fighting power. Bang rong! I saw a huge cosmic black hole appearing out of thin air. This cosmic black hole directly occupied half of the battlefield, like an open mouth, and wanted to swallow the sword light that was cut off directly. Regarding volume, the sword light developed by Jian Wushuang is smaller than this black hole in the universe. The moment that sword light came into contact with the black hole in the universe, the horrible power broke out instantly. Ha! This huge cosmic black hole was ruthlessly chopped down, and a large number of special black divine powers, like the tide, went crazy around. After the cosmic black hole, the figure of the star demon ancestor emerged, but at this moment he was frightened. After the stunned sword light with the power of will cut through the cosmic black hole, he cut it directly on him. Suddenly this body of the star demon ancestor collapsed. Although the body collapsed, the most important core of the star demon ancestor was his soul, which was his root. After the body collapsed, his soul would have a chance to escape. However, the ancestors of the star devil were horrified that the horrible sword light that Jian Wushuang cast out, and the willpower contained in it, also contained an incomparable special power, which was cut and defeated by Jian Guang at the same time as his divine body. Jian Guang also cut off his soul in an instant. Me, the ancestor of the star demon, was completely annihilated. He felt that his soul had collapsed, and even his consciousness began to blur. No, I can't die. How could I die? I'm not willing. Sword unparalleled. If my state has not recovered to the highest level, if my many treasures were lost when I escaped from eternal dark prison, how could you kill me? Do not. There was a burst of hysterical roars in the god's ancestor's body. These roars carried an unprecedented dare and resentment, but the voice had gradually weakened. The entire soul body of the star ancestor was cut in half directly. It is impossible for him to survive such injuries. You're right. If you have recovered to the highest level, or if all your treasures have not been lost, use your means and the whole cards. Even if I now have all my cards out and I want to kill you, I am afraid I have not so easy, but unfortunately, there is no regret medicine in this world, and you can only blame yourself for having bad luck. Jian Wushuang muttered. He also had to admit that the star demon ancestor was indeed terrible. His method is too incredible. If he had not lost all of his treasures in the space channel in order to escape the eternal dark prison, then with the star power of the ancestor, and with the many treasures in his hands, Sword Wushuang returned, there is no absolute certainty to kill it. Even now, the reason why Jian Wushuang was able to kill the star demon ancestor so cleanly is because of the new will power given by the laws of the universe. The new will power given by the cosmic law is completely different from the previous one. Not only is the willpower will be 10 times stronger, the most important thing is that there are some special things in the willpower which can directly attack the soul of the ancestor of the star demon. Like the sword just now, when the star demon ancestor body was directly defeated, the soul of the star demon ancestor was also destroyed, and Jian Wushuang estimated that if the ancestor of the star demon had been differentiated, his divided soul would probably be directly destroyed. This special power is like cause and effect. He can kill his soul through the body of the ancestor of the star demon, or he can kill all the souls he has formed through his soul. What Jian Wushuang did not know was that the ancestor of star demon did indeed have a differentiated soul body. This differentiated soul body was left by the star demon ancestors before the outbreak of this war. He also prepared a way for himself. In case of any change in this war, his plan did not succeed, but instead after being beheaded by the Lord of the Clouds or Wushuang's sword, at least he will not actually die, and a differentiated soul body will survive, and there will be a chance of rise in the future. But now, Jian Wushuang's sword is cut off, and the differentiated soul body that he hid in the void of the universe is also annihilated. The ancestor of the star demon is really dead. Although it is not very clear what the special power entrained in this will of power is, anyway, this ancestor of the star devil is really dead, and the crisis of the world in the beginning is also truly lifted. Master, what you want me to guard I guard. Wu Jianshou clenched his hands tightly, his eyes flashed with strange light. Followed by Jian Wushuang laughed abruptly. He was very happy, very wanton. He is not alone. Many powerful men in the early divine realm are all ecstatic and excited at this moment. Dead, this star demon ancestor really dead. Even the soul is annihilated, the dead can't die anymore, haha. The crisis of the world in my early days has finally been lifted. Victory this battle. I was too early in the camp of the gods, I won. Win, haha. The entire Tai Chi God Realm camp. Those who are invited to come are okay, but those practitioners who are themselves from the Tai Chi God Realm cannot help themselves at this moment. He is like a mysterious Shinto man, and a master of space and time. Their eyes even faintly appear in the mist. They are crying with joy. There is no way. After the Lord of the Clouds took over Taichu God Realm, Taichu God Realm has been on the edge of the cliff, and they have been working for Taichu God Realm. Once they also thought that in the early days, the divine world would one day relieve the crisis and become like the ordinary astral world. But this step has been extremely far away. Even before the outbreak of the war, although they were fully prepared, they still did not have much confidence to win. Especially the appearance of the ancestor of the star demon later, and their horrible devouring ability made them almost despair. Chapter 3987. Second More. I won. With the sword Wushuang slaying the ancestor of the star demon. In the beginning, the realm of the gods really won the war. After the battle, the lord of the demon star died. The ancestor of the demon star has already died, and the army of the demon star has also been defeated. Now the pre-god world has returned to the self-control of the will of heaven. Sun Taika's greatest crisis in the world has been lifted. Countless practitioners from the early world of the gods are all surprised at this moment. They won, which means that the gods were robbed in the beginning. They don't need to abandon their hometown and wander in the void of the universe. The universe was empty, and Jian Wushuang took a deep breath. At this moment, he only felt that everything around him was very beautiful. He glanced at Taichu Divine Realm in front of him, smiled slightly, and then walked directly towards Taichu Divine Realm. In the early Tai camp, a large number of figures immediately moved forward to greet him. Fu Jun. There was tears in the coldness of frost, and she ran to Jian Wushuang in the first place, and rushed into Jian Wushuang's arms directly. Wu Jinshuang also opened his hands and hugged his wife. Before that, facing the star ancestor, he was almost determined to die, and he had made a final farewell with his wife. But now he has survived and came to his wife again, hugging him. With his own breath, Jian Wushuang couldn't calm down for a long time. Heavenly friend, Wuxian Shinto, the Lord of Time and Space, the Lord of the Heavens, and the Celestial Alliance, also all looked at Jian Wushuang at this moment, and their emotions were very complicated. These emotions have excitement and admiration, but more of them are gratitude. They are grateful for Jian Wushuang's slaying of the star demon ancestors, and saved the early gods with their own power. I can say that Jian Wushuang is the savior of the early gods. Without him, the ending of the early gods can only be perished. Wu Jianshou looked at the Xian Shinto people, and then grinned. Dear people, the world is too safe. I'm safe. The simple 3 words made the smiling faces of countless strong people in the early world of God. Half a day later, in the 3rd heaven of the Tai Kingdom, there was an old nest of 3 holy places. But now it is the gate of the 7-star Xuanzong, and a huge feast is here. This feast is naturally a celebration feast. On the grand square, there are countless practitioners sitting densely. These practitioners are all the heroes who directly participated in the war. Not only is there a master, but also a lot of rulers. They are all in this square. Up there is a place. On the high platform in front of the square, a throne stands. These are the top powers of the early gods' camp. Among these thrones, a throne is particularly prominent. This throne is not only larger than other thrones, it is also the most central and core position. There are 2 people sitting on this throne. It is Jian Wushuang and his wife. He and his wife sit together on this throne, and there is a lot of attention around them. The status of a person must be won by his own strength. In this battle, Jian Wushuang is undoubtedly the first hero. That is, he killed the star demon ancestors with his own power at the last moment, and turned the tide. And in terms of strength, he is now in this star field. The strongest player, so this celebration party, he is definitely the protagonist. Wuxian Shinto, the master of space and time, they directly held the sword Wushuang in the highest position. I initially refused this sword Wushuang, but the Xian Shinto people repeatedly demanded that they would sit on this largest and most conspicuous throne with the helplessness of the sword. This throne alone has proved the supreme status of Jian Wushuang. Although in his heart he respected the leaders of the Xian Shinto, the Lord of Time and Space, who were the early gods, but the latter did not regard him as a practitioner of the same level. You all, Jian Wushuang, who sat on the throne at the top, suddenly stood up, and Leng Rushuang next to him stood up at the same time. The whole banquet was quiet, and countless eyes brushed and solidified on Jian Wushuang's body. With a smile on his face, Jian Wushuang held a glass of wine in his hand and said, "This battle, all of you present are heroes. It is because of the concerted efforts of everyone that I won the final battle in this world. Victory, just for this victory everyone toast. Cheers." Numerous practitioners at the banquet held up wine glasses and drank this glass of celebratory wine. Haha, happy. Xian Shinto laughed directly after drinking a glass of wine. I haven't had such a pleasant drink for a long time, but I have never encountered anything before. And I always have a thorn. Existence is the existence of this thorn, which has made me sleepless. But now I can finally drink this glass of wine. That's right, it's not just you, we are all the same. Before the beginning, the divine world was in dire straits. I, as one of the leaders of the early divine world, have never dared to let go of the slightest slack. But now the crisis finally, it was lifted up. My world was finally settled in the early days. A few of us were able to fall asleep. I can see with my own eyes that the world in the early days has reached this stage. Even if I die now, I can all stare. The palace master smiled heartily. Haha, in the beginning, the world finally settled down. I haven't really lived a few days before. But you can't die like this. The celestial leader also joked. Several other top powers in the early world of God also smiled very happily. Even the 13 Emperor 13, who was extremely indifferent on weekdays, frequently smiled at this celebration party. Master, I wait to congratulate the master for breaking through the master and showing your power and beheading the star demon ancestor. Those slaves brought back from eternal dark prison by Jian Wushuang have been killed by many star demon ancestors before, but many are still alive. They are now led by the Lord Dragon to toast to Jian Wushuang. Thank you all. Jian Wushuang responded with a smile after drinking. You can rest assured that my previous commitments will never change, and I will definitely give you freedom within 100,000 years. And now the kingdom of God has won a great war. It won't be long before the realm of the gods will completely calm down, and I do expect you to use it at that time, so I may release you in advance. Ahead? The Dragon Lord's eyes lit up immediately, and Jian Wushuang did not lie. He had enslaved the demon dragons before them to prepare for the battle with Demon Star. Now the war is over. In the beginning, there should be no crisis in the world of God. With his current strength, these slaves will not help him, so even if they are given freedom in advance, it is nothing to Jian Wushuang. Influences. Chapter 3988. The first is more. At the feast of Qing Qing, there was a laugh and laughter. As the protagonist of this war, Jian Wushuang became the focus naturally. In the early days, a top power in the world of toasted to Jian Wushuang, and Jian Wushuang did not decline. After 3 wine tours, the celebration party was still lively. Fu Jun, you are afraid that you have not been so happy for a long time. Lung Rushuang looked at Jian Wushuang and smiled. Indeed, Jian Wushuang also nodded. Except when you revived the divine body and reunited with me, I haven't been so happy for a long time. But it's normal. Before that, I had been shouldering the burden of saving the early gods. I can't relax at all times. And now that the crisis of the world has been lifted, just like the mysterious gods, I have really relaxed. I am so happy to be so relaxed. Nang Fujin, when are you going to take over the princely world? Lung Rushuang asked suddenly. Win the house. Jian Wu's eyes narrowed. Shuang, honestly, I'm hesitant now. Why hesitate? Cold as frost wondered. I'm hesitant. Do I want to take the house of God from the beginning? Jian Wushuang said positively. If before, when the crisis of the early world was not resolved, he would not hesitate to take away the world of the early world. Only in this way could he protect the world of the early world. But now it's different. The Lord of the Demon Clouds has already died, including the ancestor of the Star Demon, and the power of the heavenly will in the early divine realm is not controlled by anyone at all. It is self-running at this time. Nothing affected it. So Jian Wushuang was wondering if he shouldn't go to the house, and it would be up and running by the will of the heavens and heavens in the early days. No one intervenes again. No one controls the will of heaven, just like the normal astral world. Fu Jun, this question would you like to ask Xianxin them? Lung Rushuang said. Well, I'll ask and see. Jian Wushuang nodded. Even if he asked directly at the banquet. Of course, although he asked, he blocked the space and time around him. He could not hear the conversation between Xianxin and others. Tianho Xiaoyu, are you hesitant to take the house of God from the beginning? Wushuan Shinto, the Lord of time and space, the Lord of the heavens, and the heavenly ancestor, and several other leaders from the beginning of the world, all looked at the sword unparalleled. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. What do you think? Xian Shinto asked. I don't want to take the house. Jian Wushuang said directly. In the early days, the realm of the gods was originally a side of the astral universe. It should have operated in accordance with the laws of the universe, and should not be subject to any external factors or interference. Before, there was no way. I had to lose the house to be able to save the early gods. But now, since it is no longer necessary, it is naturally better not to lose the house. I heard the words of Jian Wushuang. In the early days, the leaders of the gods looked at each other with smiles on their faces. When I saw this bald head, Jian Wushuang still didn't have the slightest selfishness. He didn't want to rely on taking away the early gods to improve his strength. Obviously, he was really good for the early gods. This made Xian Xindao people very satisfied and very comforting. Tianho Xiaoyu, the Lord of Time and Space, said, You obviously can easily take away the early divine realm and get endless benefits, but you don't have any selfishness. You want to let the early divine realm of the heavens and heavens will evolve and operate by itself. This lets me you will be very pleased, but pleased to return, you still have to win. Why? Jian Wushuang frowned. First of all, for you. The Lord of Space and Time solemnly said, Tianho Xiaoyu, you have excellent talents and unlimited potential. You are like a Qianlong, which is basically the beginning of the divine realm, and even this star field. You should go to the deeper part of the more vast universe, where is the place where you should stay, and if you take away the original divine realm, this will have endless benefits for you, your future growth more space. Sword without double-sided color unchanged. It was indeed a great opportunity for him to win the house of God, but he didn't care. After all, he was born to this day. Why did he get more than once or twice? Nothing else to say. Ling Yunxing and Heng Yun alone are all great creations. Maybe for others, it is absolutely rare to be able to take over the astral realm. But Jian Wushuang really doesn't care. He believes that even if he didn't take over the early world, he can still set foot on the top of the universe. Perhaps you don't care about this opportunity, but you have paid so much for the gods in the beginning. Of course, I have to wait for you. Of course, there are more important reasons. The master of space and time laughed. Tianho Xiaoyu. Although now the crisis in the early gods is indeed lifted, but if I am not wrong, there are still many hidden dangers in the early gods. Hidden danger? Jian Wushuang frowned. Yes, this hidden danger comes from the various means deployed by the demon lord to control the three sacred realms, and which gods at the beginning, and these means were used to accelerate the evolution of the gods in the early stage, and squeeze them to the maximum extent. In the beginning of the divine realm, although these three methods seem to have temporarily stopped since the destruction of the three sacred realms, who knows what the three sacred realms have squeezed the primal realm? And what measures did they put in at the beginning, whether those measures will continue to crush the Taizhou divine realm in the future? We do not know these, and we cannot go with the heavenly will of Taidi divine realm communication. Even if the current divine realm is still damaged, we do indeed know. Wu Jian Wushuang was silent. It is true that after the battle of the Lord of the Demon Clouds, the divine realm in the early days was already full of sorrows. Although the divine realm has been redominated by the will of the heavens, but no hidden danger exists in the divine realm in the early days. After all, they were unable to communicate with the heavenly will of the gods in the early days. If you want to truly eradicate these hidden dangers, and want to make sure that the realm of the early divine realm is safe and sound, you little friends, you must take away the realm of the early divine realm. There are really many hidden dangers in the divine realm in the early days, and you can also solve them. The words of the Lord of Time and Space Palace immediately attracted the approval of several leaders around. Obviously, they also think that Jian Wushuang should seize the kingdom of Taichu. Chapter 3989. Second more. If you have lost the pre-god realm, then even if your deity is in the deepest part of the universe, you can still block all my strong enemies that can threaten my pre-god realm, all outside the pre-god realm. Tianho Xiaoyu, this is the way you really protect the primordial world, sighed the Lord of Time and Space. Yes, the heavenly will of the gods in the early days will only run on its own in accordance with the laws of the universe. It is really in a big crisis. The heavenly will of the gods in the early days will not play any role, in order to be able to shelter me from the beginning of the world. Xian Shinto and others also nodded in approval. Hearing what they said, Jian Wushuang was obviously also moved. Sure enough, the Lord of Time and Space is very justified. Regardless of the hidden dangers in the early divine realm, or the calamities encountered in the future, he can only solve it by taking away the heavenly will of the early divine realm. That being the case, when this celebration feast is over, I will go and win the house. Jian Wu's eyes were full of light, and he had already made up his mind. Seeing this, the Xian Shinto people, and the Lord of Time and Space all laughed. Qi Qing's feast is still going on. After all, this is the great victory of the whole Taiji kingdom, and this war actually started from a long time ago. Until now, the Taiji kingdom has really won, and this kind of special victory has continued. Time is naturally longer. The Feast of Qi Qing was held for 3 days and 3 nights before it ended. The powerhouses of all parties in Taichu Divine have dispersed. As for those who have been invited, They have all received the treasure they wanted, and then they have left the kingdom of Taichu Divine. The void at the top, the leaders of the gods in the early days gathered here. Heavenly friend Go. Xian Shinto smiled. Wu Jianso nodded his head slightly, and immediately under the gaze of these people, directly into the surrounding void. Jian Wushuang itself is a practitioner of perfect life level. After the strength breakthrough reaches the dominance, he can very clearly sense the existence of the heavenly will of the early gods. And because of the experience of refining the ancient chaotic world, Jian Wushuang now wants to win Shi Taichu was also very relaxed. Everything is as expected by Jian Wushuang. Only a dozen attempts. By the 17th time, Jian Wushuang successfully refined the heavenly will of Taichu Divine Realm. At this moment, Jian Wushuang truly mastered the entire Taichu Divine Realm. And after really mastering the early world, Jian Wushuang knew that he could gain the benefits that he could gain by giving up the early world. There are two benefits to this. One is that Taichu Divine Realm is a universe of astral nurtured by the universe. It has a complete heavenly cycle. Jian Wushuang can feel the existence of this complete heavenly cycle through the heavenly will of Taikus. This has incredible help for his cultivation. Second, it is more useful. In the beginning, the heavenly will of the kingdom of God was fully operated in accordance with the supreme rules of the universe. After taking away the kingdom of the early heavenly kingdom, he could communicate to the vast universe through the heavenly will of the early heavenly kingdom, and he could sense the universe extremely clearly. The existence of laws, not only the laws of the universe, but even the power of the universe, the many things contained in the universe, have helped him too much. I now understand that the Lord of the Nebula is not going to be very good tomorrow, and he was forced to wander outside only when he was forced to do so. But why the power can be improved in a short period of time, after taking over the gods of the early days. Many, and finally even realized a trace of the law of the universe. Jian Wushuang could not help but sigh. Can feel the complete heavenly cycle at any time. Can even clearly sense the laws of the universe, and even communicate with the vast universe. Under such a priori advantage, even mediocre people can be greatly improved in a short time. If I had taken away this early divine realm earlier, I would indeed need to go through the darkened realm to experience life and death, and finally rely on the nucleus fragments of the undead horror to comprehend such traces of the universe's laws, and I would directly enlighten myself. I am afraid can easily understand a trace of the law of the universe. Jian Wushuang secretly said, imagine that even the Lord of the Clouds relied on the heavenly will of the early gods to realize a trace of the law of the universe. His talents and understanding are many times stronger than that of the Lord of the Clouds. It is natural that he must understand the law of the universe. Easy. And now that he has realized the laws of the universe, and has really stepped into the threshold of the laws of the universe, the speed at which he now communicates with the universe and understands the laws of the universe will naturally be faster, and that speed is definitely dozens of times, even above 100 times higher. I know the benefits that I can gain from taking over the early world of God. Although Jian Wushuang is quite happy, he is not too excited. Then, he immediately dominated the heavenly will of Taichu Divine Realm, and began to explore the whole Taichu Divine Realm. With the will of heaven, Jian Wushuang soon covered his consciousness in all corners of Taichu Divine Realm, and everything in Taichu Divine Realm was seen by him. Sure enough, Jian Wushuang found several huge hidden dangers in Taichu Divine Realm. The hidden dangers are called hidden dangers because Jian Wushuang can obviously feel that these places have been causing damage to the early Divine Realm. There is one place Jian Wushuang is extremely familiar. Reincarnation Sect, Reincarnation Tianyu. Jian Wushuang's eyes stared straight. In the early days of the world, the Reincarnation Sect located in the second heaven. Once Jian Wushuang went to this reincarnation to fully understand the rules of reincarnation, and in the reincarnation field of the Reincarnation Sect, Jian Wushuang found a shocking secret. He discovered at the time that the bottom of the Reincarnation Heaven domain contained the horrifying two forces of life and death, and perfectly blended together forming a huge vortex of life and death. At the time, He also encountered the consciousness left by the reincarnation ancestor. The reincarnation ancestor told him that this vortex of life and death is a complete life and death cycle. Jian Wushuang at that time was really startled. After all, life and death reincarnation, but it only belongs to the legendary existence.